They're always big games, big occasions. You come up the race and you look up the top of the stand, everything's full. The noise I've never heard anything like that.
It's the most amazing feeling you can have out there on the ground.
You know, getting goosebumps and stuff.
And Anzac Day 2009 is underway. Oh, he's hurt himself. I think he's twisted a knee. He is gone down with a knee injury.
I actually thought that Ellie would go off for a few minutes and, you know, he'd be back on.
Well, Ryder will have to go into the ruck. That's their only alternative. It's the big wind-up from Leon Davis. It's home. Pies by 11.
When we're in a position to win the match, you just shouldn't lose from those positions.
We just wanted to just keep moving it forward, and then anything can happen.
Davis swings it out on the full.
And Ricky Dyson's got it.
Yeah, we have a few shots from there, that similar sort of position when we go in after training, so I was pretty confident.
He spears it home, and the margin is just 2 points. Full set for him, he's got it, he's got the open goal in front of him. Oh, he couldn't get it out of his boot.
I thought the game was over then, but I wanted to strangle him.
Collingwood by a point. Lockyer brings it in.
The last 15 seconds, a little bit of a blur. We could set a time clock in the box and we knew how close it was.
I kind of saw the unfolding in front of my eyes. I kind of knew what was happening, but just could not affect the context.
And I just thought, kick it, Zaka.
Couldn't move, couldn't get there.
I didn't want to have a shot after the siren, so yeah, just played on. And
to Zaharakis! Zaharakis has kicked the goal! The Bombers are in front of the G!
yeah, it was a pretty amazing feeling, pretty shattering when they got that last goal.
Just ran straight over there and just started celebrating with the boys.
This will probably be the biggest highlight of my career unless I win a premiership.
We weren't too sure how long was actually left in the game. We knew it was a dying moment.
Probably the best game I've ever played in.
Yeah, it left a fairly hollow feeling.
It lives on in the memories of Collingwood supporters.
This Friday night's just huge, this game. It's a great opportunity for us to extract a little bit of revenge, and we shouldn't have dropped that one, so we've got to make up for it.
Talk about setting the stage for a magnificent night here at the MCG. That's what we've got. The Bombers are out. They've gone from 11th to 7th in the last 2 matches. Their biggest win of the year last Friday night against the Blues. 69 points. And Collingwood, well, they've won their last 5. They've jumped into the top 4 for the first time this year. They won by 84 points last Saturday at the MCG. And they're starting to build towards September. And with Lee Matthews, Lee, it's a great feeling out here. Collingwood have been pretty impressive, haven't they?
Well, they have been. They've played teams outside the 8, the last 5, but they've won them all. So it's really good confidence building, and obviously 26 goals, 84 points win last year. So they're in pretty good shape. Pennell's will be back in this week, and Davis, 2 of their real X-factor players. And Didak's been good, Swan's been good. Cloak started to be a bit better last week. He sure is starting to give him some run off halfback. So all of a sudden, they're building really well. And Simon Prestigiacomo, almost a 31-year-old recruit. Only played 2 games last year, but he's played 13 this year. He'll probably take Matthew Lloyd. He takes the main opposition marking forward, and just a really good, solid, honest player who makes it very difficult for his opponent to get much of the footy.
Yeah, you feel like Presti's in career best form, don't you? As you said, just the 2 games last year, 14 the year before, but each and every one so far. And what about Lloyd? You saw him here last week. He kicked 4. He was important.
Yeah, well, that's an obvious matchup, but Lloyd is now back, I think, playing in his conventional full forward. They've flirted with Jay Nagle a bit in the early part of the year, but I think you'll find now Matthew Lloyd out of his favourite spot out of the goal square. He's only averaged 2 goals a game to this point of the year. I think he'll get back to his 3 or 4 goal average for the remaining 9 games.
Lee, we're going up to Nathan and Dennis in the studio, and Dennis, it's a great atmosphere down here.
It looks that way. It feels that way up here too. In Bucks, they say there's nothing like winning form. It's great form. Well, it's not exactly 13 straight, but Collingwood with 5 straight victories, Essendon with 2. It certainly shapes as a big night.
Yeah, you put those wins in your back pocket and you come into a game like this and you definitely want to get the result. Essendon were fantastic against Carlton last week and of course Collingwood against Fremantle, but different challenge altogether. They'll be looking forward to it.
Adam McPhee back after missing a week. And this lineup, just the one change. McPhee is back, as I mentioned, but a big loss. Joe Watson goes out.
Yeah, Watson's a big out. There's no doubt that Essendon are recognised. They've got a lot of speed in their group, but you need to have the ball in your hands to take advantage of that going forward. And Watson went down, but in his stead, Sam Lonergan was fantastic last week. Of course, Prismal's come into the side and Hocking as well.
When we think of the Bombers, we think of attack, but their defence is coming around at the present time. Great pressure in recent weeks.
Yes, in Matty Knight's first year, he wanted them to take the game on, run and carry and run forward very hard. He wanted to find out which of his players had that decision-making instinct, but over the pre-season, they've really looked at their defensive actions, and their tackling and pressure on the opposition has been first class.
As Paddy Ryder, fair to say Anzac Day was a defining moment in his career.
Yes, he wouldn't have known that he was going to play ruck that day. When David Hill went down, he was thrown into it, as we saw in the opener, but he has been fantastic. His ability to tap and then follow up and get involved in clearances and pressure on the opposition has been first class. Jason Winderlich has been a player that has found some consistency in his football. He's played for 7 years, less than 70 games, but he's played 12 of the last 13. Hard runner, very important player for the Bombers.
Harry O'Brien was terrific last week, 18 possessions. His career high is 21 against the Bombers back on Anzac Day. That long run last week and a wonderful goal. And Harry speaks to Tim Watson at half-time. Stick around. This is Friday Night Football.
I've known since I was 15 that I belonged in the AFL.
Now he gives it to O'Brien.
I love the quote, "No one normal has ever made history."
Who has a bounce.
The great people that overcome adversity are the ones that use that adversity as the stepping stone towards their greatest triumph.
Harry O'Brien, like a cork in the ocean, springs to his feet and kicks a goal. Friday Night Football, and as you can see, the MCG filling rapidly, very rapidly. Oh, the birthday boy turns 47 today. The famous Maguire. Jerry, no sign of Ed. And that man certainly in the spotlight tonight, Hayden Kennedy. Game number 450, born in the mid-60s. Bad decade for the Kennedys.
Yep, no worries. Thanks, guys.
Essendon win the toss. Former Bomber champ Tim Watson prowling the boundary. Tim?
Thanks, Dennis. As we've seen already, a couple of stars here tonight. There's a couple out in the field too. None bigger than Dane Swan. His form in recent months has been extraordinary, and he's one of the mainstays in their midfield. Now, one would expect after the form last week of Andrew Welsh that he will get the job on Swan. Now, he did such a great job on Judd, but the reason why Judd actually suited Welsh last week was because Judd stayed around the stoppages so much. One of the key points tonight for Essendon and that matchup will be that Swan actually stays at the stoppages himself. So if he goes forward or he goes to the wing, that may necessitate a change for the Bombers. The other thing I can say is this is the coldest night we have experienced this winter. There's a couple of light drops of rain about. There's also a fluky wind out here too, so just be mindful of the players' skills, particularly early in this game as they adjust to the conditions.
Self, Tim.
Actually, one of the things that was obvious down there, the grass is pretty moist, so it is going to be a different game. Ball might be a bit slippery.
Who would that favour, Lee?
I think Collingwood, if it was going to aside, they seem to be comfortable in damp conditions more than some.
Yeah, I think you would have thought that Joe Watson in the slippery conditions is going to be an even bigger omission. I think Collingwood have got the stronger bodies. They ran the game out very hard last week. Essendon might rely on that free-flowing game, but I think they're a little bit more robust than that. But an opponent like Collingwood will test that.
Cold night at the MCG, officiating along with Hayden Kennedy, Simon Meredith and Sean Ryan. And we're just about set to go. Can we get a carbon copy of Anzac Day? What a game it was. Pivotal duel right there. And again in the middle. Ryder and Fraser. Renew hostilities. Friday Night Football, and away we go. Ryder wins it. Comes down a Prismal after it was slapped forward by Fraser. Ball runs loose out towards left half forward for the Bombers. Lonergan's got it. Maxwell had him. Slick hand pass. Well controlled by Hocking. Gets boot to ball. Kicks inside the forward 50. How will it bounce? Awkwardly. O'Brien in trouble. Over the shoulder. Davey pushed off the line of it. Close to the boundary line. Davey went down. Brilliant pickup. Didak threads it around the boundary. Tuvey kept it going. Didak's away. Pendlebury back in the action. Hesitates. Back to Didak. Didak forward of right half back. Kicks to a contest. A real contest in front. And Dane Swan gets the free kick, plays on immediately to Dick.
Some big names you're talking about there early with Pendlebury and Didak and Swan. His pair so good last week. McPhee's got the job on Cloak. He's back in the team for Watson tonight. Just the 1 week out with a calf. Prismal sets up McPhee. Welsh, who's been brilliant in his 2 games back. Winderlick ran into his own players. Back to McPhee, back to Pears. They haven't panicked. Wide to Lovett. Prismal again involved. So Lovett, who made the long run here on Anzac Day that gave them some hope late. Lockyer. Dyson, who kicked that late goal. And now Lloyd. Back to Monfries and then back to Dempsey.
Dempsey to the middle. 3 to choose from. Winderlick's got it. Man onto the outer side. He goes there now. Real opportunity for the Bombers. Slattery held up. He's about 75 metres out. Prismal, a lot of early touches coming off 25 possessions last week. Short to the 50 and finding space. The star of last Friday night, Andrew Welsh.
And Welsh has gone to Dane Swan after the centre bounce, and Swan there just trying to drop back and support his defence, and Welsh getting dangerous on the 50-metre arc.
Welsh, distance could test him. Kicks from about 60. Good looking effort. Just off target, snatched across the line. It's a behind.
About high possession footy, that's 31 possessions in the first 2 minutes of play. They're just flicking the ball around.
Speaking high possessions, Didak again, Wellingham and Swan, who knocks up getting them everywhere, but particularly here at the G. The kick to Cloachy. McPhee's taken a beauty from the front.
He was prepared to play 10 metres in front of Cloak on that occasion, trying to prevent Travis Cloak from hitting up and being that lead-up option for Collingwood's midfield.
Prismal has averaged 23 in his 3 games to date, getting plenty early. Davey on the end of it from Pears. So Pears and Anthony, one of the many terrific duels that we see here tonight when we look around the ground. Davies kick, Ryder and Fraser, good grab. Maxwell was 3rd man up, but that's a terrific mark.
Paddy Ryder across the ground. Slattery, favoured by the kick, is marked. 45 metres out, directly in front.
It's a dangerous angle. They've got the ball, Essendon, but going from the wing to the true centre-half forward position is a very dangerous angle should the opposition rebound it from that centre-half back position. But Slattery was good enough.
Not bad policy. Fletcher lines up and misses to the right-hand side. The idea was wonderful.
Slattery taking that contested mark when the tagging player, and he's got Alan Didak, when the tagging player gets dangerous going the other way, it puts a lot of pressure on the player being tagged.
Fraser in the pocket. Lockyer, juggled attempt at the mark. Doesn't hang on, it's out of bounds.
Look like Essendon are playing a man-to-man on the kick-ins, which means that they might get caught out on that first kick, but they won't have the second, third free options.
Boundary throw in just outside the 50. Fraser won it down. Dyson slaps it back towards the middle. Lovett lost it. O'Brien can't find it. Davey can. Lucas in trouble twice. Got a hand pass away. Prismal 6 possessions now. Prismal a short one inside the 50. Coming hard, doing well was Goldsack. Thumps it out towards the boundary. Goes after the footy, grabs it. Drives it around the outer side. Cloak edged out of it. McPhee did well. Dempsey has it. Back to McPhee.
It's been very good early, McPhee.
Good kick.
So Lucas, they work it through the heart of the centre square. Dyson slipped as he kicked. Lonergan's half volley was good. And then touched on the way through to Ryder. Ryder off one step, but reading it beautifully. Shaw uses Swan and then runs and gets it back and takes off with a bounce. Ran into a bit of a dead end, went back to Fraser, back to O'Brien at half back. Harry.
Moving on, play on!
What a guy. Great article today in The Age. Looking forward to the interview at halftime with Tim. Back to Pendlebury, heavily bandaged up, back to O'Brien. Cloak down the ground, careful kick. Pears read it very, very well.
He was good last week, Pears. A couple of searching runs up the ground, resulting in goals. Bounce back to top 4. Prismal again. Short one. Lucas had to wait. Takes the mark. Lucas on the wing. Well, not sure he picked up the mark quite. Lucas. Look out. Pears. Bearing down Anthony. Essendon with all the numbers, and they need them. That was labour intensive. McPhee went back to Lucas, to Pears. Now Pears decides to run. Looks to midfield, searching kick. In front, Ryder, was he pushed in the back? No. Reimers onto the loose ball, 70 metres from goal. Monfries is about 55 metres out. It would take his best from here. Lloyd. Okay, right spot for a left footer. Wheels around, opens up the angle. Tom Cruise may have done better.
You saw Heath Shaw rebound the ball out of 50, and he really took a bounce and went handball to Josh Fraser, but then they had the chance to get quickly into their forward line, but chose to release the pressure, slow it down, and every Essendon player was basically behind the ball at that point.
It's interesting, we saw the downside of the multiple interchange. Essendon had the ball at centre half back, and two of their players were heading for the interchange bench. So they only really had 16 players that actually were in play.
So Didak, so much of it early, he and Prismal. Now Swan. Lockyer outnumbered. Reimers getting back, takes Medhurst on, good tackle.
Disposal advantage.
Thomas to Beams, chance here for Collingwood, to Cloak. This is their most promising build-up. Dick got rid of his man.
Pushed him out first. Two hands.
So Hayden Kennedy in game 450, the umpire. And away they go. Hooker. Lovett Murray running hard, and then a penetrating kick to Welsh. Free kick.
He was 100% committed to mark the ball, Andy, so that's not. Just went straight into his back. He was coming back the flight.
The ease in which Essendon actually got it through the centre of the corridor then compared to Collingwood's labour-intensive forward movements, the pressure, the one-on-one from the Bombers at this stage is slowing down the Collingwood offence.
Straight at it now.
Boundary throwing out his side.
Arms up.
Josh Fraser. And Hooker. Fraser decisively stolen by Winderlick. Taken down immediately.
Ball's pinned. Thank you.
We see that Lee Brown is actually playing the Collingwood forward on the Fletcher matchup, which is that cat and mouse game that everyone plays, trying to get Fletcher out of the defensive 50. Just at the moment he's done that.
Shaw with dash gets through. Shaw, long kick towards half forward, full-chested. McPhee took the pace off it. Medhurst slaps it wide. Prismal again. Fires a hot one towards McPhee. Lockyer behind him. McPhee clever to Hooker. Prismal burning at the present time. Wonderful stuff by Prismal. 9 possessions.
Just here with the knee mark.
And that one the best of them.
And half the players on the field are heading for interchange. Well, there's a shot at goal.
4 from each team.
Right, here's the mark, mate.
Wonderful McPhee.
McPhee was great. He left Travis Cloak when when he could influence the contest, and he stayed in it, knowing that he was going to get support from his teammates. Great tap across, and then as you called, Dan, Prismal's been huge in the start of this match. 9 touches already.
28 goals for the season. He kicked 62 last year. We're right behind him, and again he tugs it way right.
Not what you expect from Matthew Lloyd. Usually 2 chances, 2 goals, but not tonight.
Didn't kick a goal on Anzac Day, which is most unusual for him against Collingwood. It's only happened twice in his career. Thomas, well done, McPhee, having a wonderful opening. McPhee and Prismal have been terrific.
And it bounced.
They were lucky then, Essendon. When you're having a set shot at goal, you really should have an effective kick-in defence in place, but they didn't. And Collingwood had the numbers. It was just that slight fumble made a stoppage.
So the Bombers letting the Maggies off the hook early. Hooker back. Love it. Good kick. Didn't have to break stride, Hocking. And then delivers inside the 50. Lucas held his ground and took a beauty. He read it well. It bounced off his chest and he had time to wrap it up.
Got to think that the spread of the Essendon forwards has been very good at this stage. We see Nick Maxwell trying to get across to be the third man, but Essendon forwards had spread enough to prevent that.
That's a good kick. So Lucas gets the first.
They certainly just look a little bit more confident, don't they, than they did early in the year. Lloyd and Lucas just were struggling early on. They were flirting again with having Jay Nagle playing at full forward, but now that they're back in their key positions, you can just see that they look better about their footy, that wherever they are in their careers, they're back in their comfort zone. That was a great mark. It was a 3 versus 1, but the second and third Collingwood players couldn't influence the contest.
Collingwood started out being really successful choking the corridor, but on the last 2 occasions, Essendon, who like to get the ball in the central part of the ground, have been able to chip the ball back inside. Prismal first to Lloyd, and then on that occasion, Hocking to Lucas.
Bitterly cold night, but Melbourne supporting this game. Thomas fed it forward. Fraser kicks inside the forward 50. Cloak comes to the footy, snaps. How will it bounce? Runs on and just misses. I doubt either player touched that in the square.
We saw Josh Fraser push forward from that centre clearance. It's when he is dangerous. If Collingwood get their hands on the ball, he will always be pushing forward on that diagonal movement to get involved in the attack.
Things no longer pointless for Collingwood. Fletcher drives it outside the defensive 50, reaching over the top. Lee Brown. Is that a push from the back? Down goes Reimers. Umpire has a long look. Ball slow to release. Skipworth on one knee. Met front on by Swan. Well done, Dane Swan. Thomas in the grasp. Widens things. In trouble, Medhurst. Reimers fought back, won the football. Pears, Stanton, McPhee. Men to the opposite side. Here's a chance for Lovett. Runners alongside. Picks the middle. That was attacking. Slattery's away. Goes searching for a leading forward. Goldsack on the angle. Came across in front of Ryder. Knocked it down to his own advantage. Didak gets a hand pass away. Wellingham comes back to Didak. Dyson corralled him. Didak's kick. Bounces once. Taken by Beams. That's better.
To Wellingham with some time and space. Kicks inside the 50. Fletcher and Medhurst. Cloak doing the roving. Thomas will get onto it and kick a goal.
Fantastic movement by Collingwood. They're still going around the outside, but as we've seen, St Kilda do exactly the same thing, and they're very effective in attack. But Collingwood were able to work it down that wing. Thought this kick here was a little bit errant because I thought it was initially for Travis Cloak, but Medhurst did a very good job there to bring the ball to ground without giving a free kick away to Fletcher. And then another scrubber kick by Travis Cloak around the shoulder found Dale Thomas.
2 points the difference, and immediately Thomas takes his seat. Just the beginning of a great weekend. So much footy to look forward to, and the big one, of course, coming up on Sunday. Well, another big one, let's say. The Swan goes back to O'Brien. Goldsack, sweeping hand pass across half-back, releases Lockyer. Lockyer towards half-forward. O'Brien in the action, works his way in front, and the ball goes out of bounds.
See their hit-outs already. Collingwood ahead at this stage, but inside 50s, Essendon 8, Collingwood 5. I think that's an indication of the match thus far.
Ball out. Beams whipped off it. Dyson close to Reimers. Skipworth back, and here's Lovett through the centre. Kick poor. Presti's got it. Lloyd can't get him, and Presti's away and rebounds inside 50. McPhee worked to the front. Well read by Hocking to Dyson. This is where they've looked dangerous, isn't it? Coming out of half-back in this first quarter. Lonigan, Lovett, Murray to straighten up and go with a long one. Lovett running back with Tuvey. Bouncing ball. Tuvey's going to get nervous here. He needs some help. He does. Well done, Brown. Goldsack, great tackle, Monfries. Davey has to fish for it. Gets it now. Check sides it and kicks a miracle goal. Brilliant.
It's incredible. Bruce called it as a miracle goal, except we see them just about 1 1/4 these days. That ball control, the ability to make a very difficult kick. The banana on the outside, fantastic chasing pressure by Monfils that gave Davies the chance, but the ability to convert from that half chance was magnificent.
What a talent. What a goal.
Have a look at this effort by Monfils. As a forward, you're thinking you might just set up and get in the wall there, but he was up prepared to push up on his opponent and close down that handball receive option and the outlet, and that led to the goal by Davey.
Swan is back in the centre square. Gets a kick immediately, floats it down towards half forward. The mark, though, taken by McPhee. Swan went deep to full forward and was picked up by Winderlick a few moments ago. Now, Davis away, has a bounce, running down towards right half forward. Anthony made it difficult, led towards the middle. As a result, it confused the man coming down the ground, Davis. Pumped out of bounds by McPhee.
Yes, I think of that situation, as you mentioned, Dennis, he was on his right foot boundary side. You just have to go to the space on the boundary side, leading up the middle. The kick can't come to you.
No, had to be a contortionist to get it back to him. Behind the pack, hand pass from Tuvey. Short one across the ground, bounces, it came from Dick. Chopped off by Pears, Davey. Now across half back, he's everywhere. He's got the speed to travel. Goes to Stanton, what a beautiful kick. His service to Lloyd has been good. Stanton confronted. Dyson, normally a telling kick, no one to kick to. Winderlick's got the ball, runs outside the centre square. Lovett Murray hooks it goal. He was pushed as he kicked, and the ball bounces out of bounds in the pocket.
That handball of Matty Lloyd's to Brett Stanton was an instinctive first give. Stanton had no space at all, but it was just the way they want to play. They want to take risks. They're prepared just to give it, and then Stanton had someone there running for him. It's just instinctive fast give football.
Ryder doing the roving, and then Lee Brown and Maxwell. Player stopping there, umpire letting it go.
See, Nick Maxwell will always try and drop back a little bit in front of the full forward position, so hitting up his direct opponent, which is Skipworth at the moment, is important for Essendon.
Davey, O'Brien's got him, but Davey still managed to get a handball to Ryder. Well done, O'Brien. Back to Swan, and then Swan hacks it out of there. It was the best way to get some distance. Didak. Well played. Such orientation on the footy field he's got, hasn't he? He just knew exactly what he had to do. He backed back, and what a kick going forward to Thomas, who looks lively. Wide to Beams at 50, now at 49, low. He's got it, Cloak.
Does he made that look good, Cloak? That was a very poor kick from Beams coming in.
Are you happy that he marked it? Yes. Okay, play the mark. No, they've both had a good view. Adam, back here. You're going to have to come around. No. 4 metres. Hey, there's time on, Trent, time on. Come back, keep coming. Perfect, that's it.
Kick 3 last week. That's the best return he's had this year, Cloak. Hit the post. Couple of behinds to Cloak tonight. He's looked pretty good. McPhee started well on him, but Cloak getting a fair bit of it himself.
Here's Lovett. Runs away, drives it towards the wing. Lloyd almost the mark. Well done by Lockyer. A fumble came from Medhurst. Good tackle, Lockyer. Spilt the ball out. Medhurst feeds it back. Bounces up towards the wing. Goal sack. Now he goes forward. Beams in space. The short one, not 15. Well, Medhurst just threw it away. Gee, I was right. Having got that decision right too much this year. Fletcher drives it beyond the wing. Didak got to his move early. Overcommitted, fell over terrible. Winderlick on the lead, Monfils.
It was critical that Didak didn't allow his opponent to play on. He just overcommitted. He wasn't going to spoil, but then put himself out of the contest, which enabled the unpressured kick. Monfils will always come at the kicker. That's what he does.
Yeah. Didak had to get goal side and just concede the mark. Monfils. So good last week with 5. Steps inside the 50. Kick is on its way. Slides it across the face. Off hands are behind.
5 goals, 5 kicks last week, Monfries. And their delivery inside the 50 has been pretty good tonight. The Bombers have found a lot of good targets. Beams wide.
Look at Tuvey on, love it. And he beat him for pace. Or effort.
Which?
Yeah. Well, he was first to move and was able to get into space.
He's had a solid season, Tuvey. He's just missed the one game. Had a lot of footy. Beams has been lively. Here's Swan from the interchange. He's had some remarkable numbers this year, Swan. Decides to go down the line. Thomas and Clark, huge fly from Stanton. McPhee fending off, got away with it. Dempsey in heavy traffic. McPhee's little gift to Dempsey, to Prismal. Now Prismal had to stop and prop, but they've kept their heads well here, the Bombers. Reamers.
That's it.
As Prismal goes to the interchange and Dyson comes on.
Move it on, play on.
So Reamers that kick inside, it was touched off the boot. But again, they flirt with danger here, the Bombers.
Dyson, like a rag doll, tossed out of there. Dick goes short. Lockyer's got it. Man on in the square. Nobody near Cloak. Turns around. Caught that. Into the second tier.
Well, both of Collingwood's goals have come from players that are goal side of their opponent.
Yeah.
Obviously, Essendon are committed to getting numbers to the ball and the run and carry, but twice already in this game, that commitment to get numbers to the ball has meant that they've left a direct opponent in an easy goal-scoring position.
He got a long way from the contest, didn't he, Clayton? A long way clear.
Cloak kick 5 in the Anzac Day match last year. So Collingwood back within a couple of points of Essendon. Massive crowd, good conditions considering the weather in Melbourne this week. Hooker doing his own roving. Reamers. Rinderlick, good hands. Back to Stanton. Straightened up. Lucas. Good effort there at the back by Brown. Welsh, quick hands. Stanton couldn't quite take control. Didak was very good. Pendlebury to Swan. Arching his back, Maxwell. Looking for Didak. It sits. Now he's got a little bit of time now, Didak. Wants Cloak. McPhee gave him a little shove out of the way. Davis held up. And then Dempsey's back turn's a good one. And then goes into the centre. Again, a little bit of danger, but Stanton, Skipworth, and all on his own Lonigan.
Right on a neck. Back 1 metre, Nick Maxwell.
So good rebound footy by the Bombers.
They're coming around. That's it. Mark's dead, thank you.
You'd reckon right on his limit here, Lonigan. They continue to use the centre corridor, don't they? Through the centre from half back. Well, ran out to get the distance and hooked it. So it's been a tale of missed opportunities in this opening term for Essendon.
Didak again, so much of the football. 12 possessions now as he goes up towards the wing. Medhurst.
Has he marked it?
Paid the mark.
Play on.
Runs around. Takes something off the kick. Cloak drifting back. Marks at 55. Pendlebury, a left footer. Well, confused them all. Swan running amok. Goes in and misses. Swan now is up to 13 possessions. It was interesting. Not sure what Andrew Welsh is doing. He was trying to unsettle Dane Swan, but judging by that right arm, I'd say he doesn't mind a bit of needle.
It's a high possession game. Essendon have had 112 touches now, 200 between these two sides, and we've still got a little bit of time to play.
Bit of needle, Bucks. As the ball comes back towards midfield, hand pass to Fletcher. Fletcher drives it beyond the wing. Hangs a long time in the air. Reamers almost the mark. Spins out of trouble. That was terrific. Kicks inside the forward 50. Not so good. It's 2-on-1. Lloyd knocks it back towards the goal square. Has no help. Tries to get a square soccer on that one. As if he was centering, but he was pushed off the footy by Prestigiacomo, who's made a living impersonating Spanish moss.
It was a good 2-on-1 win by Lloyd. The win in the sense the ball's still in the Essendon forward line.
Maxwell from Fraser's a terrific tap. And Fraser, dangerous kick. Didak and Remus. Remus taking him on and then hooking. Gee, that's a great one-on-one victory for Remus there. And the Bombers keep missing. 2-6 to 2-3.
We don't see this man-on-man approach too much defending the kick in, and it's hard to stop the first kick, but what it means is now when Didak gets the footy, he shouldn't have a free play to go to next.
Well, Collingwood haven't gone to the huddle either, which surprises me. You'd think that by now they would realise it's man-to-man, create some space and have a player spit into a lot more time and space than they've done currently.
So Fraser, after Didak's 13th disposal in this opening term, can Collingwood get a late one here? Thomas working it, Fletcher, Medhurst pushing forward, Lonergan as he legged, goes back in, Hocking.
Now there's about 3 players lying on top of the player over the footy. That's where I think the umpires have got to say, listen, you can't pile on top of the bloke who's first in.
Stacks on.
In the back is still a primary rule.
You're on the rules committee now. We better take a lot of notice when you say those sorts of things. Fraser, Hocking.
In these tight clinches, and both of these teams are good pressure sides, the ability to control the ball when you're being tackled, when to let it out, when to find a teammate to prevent it from spilling into general space is something that I think Essendon have done a little bit better than Collingwood in this match. So
an opening turn, big numbers to Didak and Swan, McPhee and Prismal. Essendon had more of it, and a quarter time they lead by 3. It's 2-3 Collingwood, 2-6 Essendon. MCG, this is Friday Night Footy. And kicks off the miracle goal. Brilliant. Tom Cruise wondering, how do you do that? Well, Davey getting it through, but they weren't too good from set shots in that opening term. 1 goal, 4 and 1 out of bounds, the Bombers, but they lead by 3 points. It's 2-6 to 2-3. Mick Malthouse wasn't happy at quarter time with Collingwood. Got them in and pointing at the back, and it looks like he's in the direction of John Anthony, who hasn't had a possession yet. Dutch, you've been with Collingwood a long time. With Mick, you've probably been involved in a few of these.
Yeah, stood around a few of those, and when the coach goes straight to the team before the team break up to go to the division coaches, you know that he has something important to say, and he didn't mince his words there.
Let's go down to Blake Carosello, who's with Tim.
Well, Blake, a bit lucky. The damage could have been a lot more than what it was at quarter time.
Yeah, very lucky. I think it's probably a 2 or 3 goal win going down that end, but our transition from offence to defence is very poor.
Has that been the concern, the way they've opened you up through the midfield?
Yeah, definitely, but even our ball movement going forward hasn't been great.
And what about the midfielders? I mean, your midfielders are getting plenty of the ball, but Prismal's had plenty of the ball too. Do you need to tighten up on someone like him?
Yeah, it's all about the effect you have on the game, really. Dids may have had it 10 times. They probably used it quite well, but other players need to use the ball going forward rather than sideways.
Thanks for your time.
Thanks, mate.
And I suppose that's the point we made with Josh Fraser's kick. You know, he's sure had taken a bounce, was prepared to take the game on. You've really got to get the ball, the transition from your defence, from defending to go forward is important because it puts the opposition on the back foot. Just as vital as the ability to flick from offence to defence to be able to shut the opposition down. I think, as Blake Carosello said, and obviously we saw Mick going off about it, I don't think Collingwood have been able to do that as well as Essendon. It's just that Essendon haven't taken advantage on the scoreboard.
Just the 3 points, the margin.
Adam McPhee, 12 possessions, but just playing spear across half back on occasions. Prismal started brilliantly, 10 possessions. Didak 13, Swan has 12.
He's a sort of new player almost the last few weeks, Alan Didak, and just the numbers of the ball. He's always been a terrific player with ball in hands, but you never really expect him to be getting his 30, 40 touches of the footy, but just the last few weeks, he's owning it.
Start of the second term, Friday night football. Vast crowd, cold night, good game. Ryder over the top, falls behind, Wellingham kicks inside the forward 50.
You now.
Coming across on the angle with a man this time as McPhee. Was that in the back? Apparently not. Rolled him, said the umpire. Pretty good call too. Lee Brown doing the rolling.
Off him now. Thank you.
And I'll jump in.
And that forward pressure cannot be underrated. The best teams in the competition do that consistently. Well done by Lee Brown then to prevent McPhee to get a clear possession.
Great call by the umpire too. Watching the replay, Prismal cleverly into the path of a teammate Dempsey. Lovett, Ryder, Dempsey. They all went to Dempsey. Lovett creates some space. Kicks it back towards the midfield. Dangerous. O'Brien has it now. Thought about going to Fraser. Kicks inside the forward 50. Anthony working off his man takes the mark. Denying Pears the comeback.
And as soon as Tate Pears turned around and exposed his chest to Anthony, he had a right to be able to push him as much as he liked. If he was able to back the other way, it would have been very difficult to do.
That's your mark.
John Anthony, he's played 24 games for Collingwood. He's scored at least one goal in every one, including 5 hauls of 4. That's remarkable. 32 goals this season. First touch of the night. That's a goal.
All clear.
It must be an incredibly difficult and uncomfortable position for a defender. When you know the ball's going to go over your head. It was good play by Lovett to extricate himself, but then when he turned the ball over in the middle, they were going to be in trouble. And as we see, they played the ball on quickly, and Pears was caught under the footy. We see this, and he thinks, what can I do? How can I get my position back? And a good forward has got the leverage to hold him under the footy, and a good, straight, accurate kick.
So Mickey pointing the finger and John responding.
He was hiding up the back too. Still caught him.
He always positions himself well, doesn't he, Anthony? That was a great mark and a good goal. So he keeps that streak going. 25 matches, goal in each of them. Welsh kicks it inside the 50.
In the back. It's in the back. It's to Andrew Welsh. In the back to Andrew Welsh.
So it's a free to Essendon.
I'll pay the free kick. I'll pay the free kick, okay? It's gone downfield. You've got it. Cut it out. Lee.
So an Essendon kick just inside the 50 against Lee Brown. Stanton's going to take it.
Mate, in the back. Any harder than that and you're in the book, mate.
He can kick a long goal, certainly on the run. And he's timed that pretty well. It won't be a goal. And again, Essendon. So from set shots tonight, the Bombers are 1 goal 5 and 1 out of bounds. So they've had their chances.
And this is a problem with the man-to-man defence. If one player drops off, it can be an easy exit.
Thomas exiting easily. O'Brien sold into trouble. A bit lucky there. Back to Thomas. Did something similar last week and kicked a goal, but this time was taken out of it, having hand passed the deck. Comes across from Medhurst to Didak on the lead. Brown. I think it's Medhurst who's down.
Oh, it's Willingham, I think.
Is it? It is.
Didak here, you give him that sort of space. Lee Brown was actually drawn to the space by that kick as much as anything, as we see Willingham come off the field.
Lee Brown has missed a lot of goals this year. He's been invaluable, but his kicking at goal hasn't been great. And again, he starts it way out to the right.
Gee, that's where Didak's so dangerous, isn't he? Bringing it into the 50.
Oh no.
So Dempsey. And then Cloak.
Let's see it come through. Hey, Trad, you've got it, mate. Don't worry. You've got it.
The last couple
Clear it out, lads. You've got the free.
The last couple of efforts by Essendon to rebound out of their 50. Collingwood's pressure's been fantastic and forced the Essendon player into a couple of errant kicks. We saw Lovett before and Dempsey on that occasion. Drawn a couple of shots at goal.
Nick, clear it out so I can get him out.
10 goals 5 from set shots. Setting up like Lloyd. Kick 1-2 tonight. Gee, that's a big hack, isn't it? So Collingwood's turn at the start of this quarter to miss a few.
Just get the feeling it might be the breeze down that end. We've seen some good kicks missed badly.
Blake Carosella said to Tim that the Bombers probably had a 2-goal breeze in the first quarter, they felt. So Collingwood must have it a bit at their back, but it could be swirly. But Fletcher's got plenty of it into the breeze if there is one.
Dyson cleverly. McPhee dragged down. O'Brien falling to the ground. Tuvey soccers it out towards the boundary line. Davey leads and the ball goes out of bounds.
Well, I'll tell you what, I reckon it'll be a first if there's a goal advantage at the MCG. The wind just swirls all over the place. It very rarely advantages any end.
Alan Didak feeling feisty. Fraser knocks it down.
He tried to pick that up between his legs and thought he'd give him a bit because it didn't come off.
Give him time. Welsh got it from Hawking. Monfries. Hawking went to ground, tackle by Davis. Didak a fumble. That was clever by Didak, although Lovett, McPhee bounces off a would-be tackler. Wonderful pressure by the Magpies, trying to lock it in. In comes Cloak. Attracted a crowd, and the umpire will ball it up about 40 metres out from Collingwood's attacking goal, and they would not let Essendon get it out. I think that's a throw.
So Cloak over the top. Slattery. So against Medhurst, the advantage given to Stanton. And now Winderlick. Didak to try and put some pressure on him. He's given up now because Winderlick's away. Runs his full measure. Good kick to Skipworth. But they have done pretty well tonight, Essendon. Is kick the ball when they're going forward again to Lloyd. Lloyd gives it to Lucas, who loads it up and goes with a long one to full forward. Did well there, Goldsack. Held his ground. Monfries gets a second crack at him. Still with Monfries high. Oh, Tuvey sucked in.
Well, he made him earn it once he'd given the free kick away, but that's the benefit of just winning the football, putting your head over it and having it in your hands. If you're within range of goal, you can draw a free kick any time.
And staying low, didn't he? He didn't really come up. He stayed crouched down and need real control when you're coming into that tackling position to make sure that you don't give away that free.
The leadership group picked a bit of Monfries play last week to show this week about second and third efforts. And he's done a few of those already tonight, creating a goal for Davey in the opening term and maybe creating one for him here. And he does, and Essendon back in front.
Particularly then when I think there was 2 Essendon Guernseys and about 4 Collingwood. So the fact that they were outnumbered, but he forced his way to the footies. Monfrey, as we know, an errant tackle, but he has been a really good third tall in recent weeks. Now that Lucas is mainly playing centre forward, Lloyd full forward, he becomes that third marking player.
Actually went down to his knees there, a la Scott West, and got the high tackle.
So the Bombers lead it by 3 points. Another terrific game on Friday Night Football, this one. Hooker up very high, did exactly that. Well done by Beams from Davis. O'Brien comes out very wide towards the boundary and runs out of bounds, right half forward for the Magpies. He's won 2 out of 3 against Michael Malthouse. Fraser works his man under the ball and flicks it down behind. Davis got a hand pass away. The kick comes in from Beams, who was at Pendlebury, who's been quiet. Brown lobs it over the top. Anthony going back has taken the mark about 10 metres out.
Just here. I've blown time on. No, just here. Just here. Right. Here.
Ball started by Josh Fraser.
Just a metre.
Clever kick.
Was a clever kick. So Anthony going at his second. Trading goals at the moment. This to put the Magpies back in front. Well, he's hit the post from point blank range. A man who rarely misses.
You wouldn't believe that, would you? That he would from probably 12 metres out, that was.
50,000 Collingwood fans feel exactly the same way. O'Brien, well done. Good play by Stanton and then by Beams. Lonergan probably a bit high, but he fetched the footy brilliantly and gets it to Welsh. Welsh's handball wasn't great. Important ball here. Lovett's read it best. Releases Lovett Murray.
It's like holding back the tide with Essendon. Collingwood have actually defended really well when they've got it in their forward line, but we've seen a couple of times when Essendon get up and running, they're very hard to stop when you give them simply a yard to receive and to run.
Leon Davis, Fraser, well done, Josh. And quickly on.
Get under that. Look out. Swan almost. Pears, robbed to the footy. Dents. Lightning fast. Beams, Swan. Swan goes from 55. Getting back there, Thomas Slattery did brilliantly. Launched himself, got a fist on it. The danger not past though. It comes to Swan from Cloak, and Swan does it himself. Sent it in, followed up, kicks the goal.
Well, that'll be the standard Josh Fraser play. Their ball goes into Collingwood's defence. He goes out to the wing. And this time he got it on the way out. But yeah, he's just a hard worker. Swansea gets a lot of the footy, runs hard, uses it, gets into the next passage of play. It's a really good game of footy. I don't know whether sometimes Essendon are just fantastic to watch most games. And tonight is no exception. Great game of footy.
Dale Thomas's body on the goal line is very important. That's about the second or third time he's put a good shepherd on to create space for a teammate or to assist in that score on that occasion. Underrated for those efforts he is.
Fraser, well done to Davis. And then Davis straightens up, cloaks the target. McPhee, Anthony doing the roving, still with the footy, got it out. Cloak a left footer off the ground, goal. It's happening now.
Cloakey's up and about, isn't he?
Yep.
10 touches, couple of goals, and he's missed a couple that he also could have kicked.
He's had 5 shots for goal.
And this ruck work. That's a great tap, isn't it? Not often that you get them that clear out of that centre square situation, but the pressure of Collingwood in this area has been great. McPhee's given Cloak a lot of space. He was involved in that tackle, but Cloak's found a lot of space on a number of occasions.
Show me the money. Farmer to Goggin. Oh, where is the money? Hit-outs to advantage. Well, that's a story. Hooker with a job to do, too easy. Tapped down again by Fraser. I don't know where Paddy Ryder is, but they need him and need him quickly. No offence to Hooker. There's the bounce. Fraser and Hooker. Fraser again. Laid it down. Pendlebury wrapped up immediately. They're flirting with danger here.
I reckon it should be a gentleman's agreement when Hooker's in, Lee Brown goes in for Collingwood.
Here comes Ryder now. He was at full forward. He's running up the ground. Won't get there in time for this one. Oh, Hooker's back in form. He tapped it down. Tuvey. Stolen away, though, by Lovett, who kicks it over Ryder's head. Ryder is running back. Juggled mark, though, is taken out there by Maxwell. Will that be 50? No, play on's the call. Strong tackle by Lovett. Murray.
You saw him. You saw him coming up Nashville on the ball.
So what was the explanation? And why isn't it a mark? NFI.
Looked a super effort from Maxwell and a great mark. Wellingham, Pendlebury, Lloyd's tackle. Too aggressive.
They've definitely arrested control of general play in this quarter. The rev up and the raz that they got from Mick Malthouse at quarter time is definitely taking effect.
So Goldsack getting it from Maxwell and then loading up to full forward. Big fly came from Medhurst at the back. Didak went to ground. Anthony, well done though by Slattery. Oh, gee, Medhurst hard and McPhee. Back to Cloak. Can't get enough on that. It is touch play on. Anthony brought down. I think it was Slattery. Ball out. Dyson first hands on it. Willingham with him. McPhee kicks it away. Lovett Murray needs clean hands. Hasn't got him for the moment. Well done there by Beams. I think it was no Tuvey it was. Back to Goldsack. Back to Brown. Great pressure. Too much in the end.
No! None of that! None of that!
Nathan Brown, just forward of the wing, comes out very wide. Here's Didak again. Spent some time on the interchange bench. Obviously a little cold. Fiddles with the football. Now he goes back. Fraser marks barely 15. Fraser on the wing. Wellingham comes strongly. Didak now up to 16 possessions. And Wellingham with the football. Right half forward. Sets it up. All Essendon. Robert Murray. Can go to Lucas or go shorter. Prismal has it. Up from the back pocket. Reemers wants it. He could be the next link in the chain. Lucas has got the ball. Now Reemers is covered, but Dyson is on. I say, oh, never mind. Comes back this way. Our broadcast side looking for Hawking. Off hands. Spinning out of trouble. Will almost Slattery. Back to Hawking. Worked out okay. Dyson was still on. Take my word for it. Winderlick goes inside. Skipworth wheels around. Look at the numbers they've got here. There's Dyson. Dyson forward of the wing inside the forward 50. Terrible. Harry O'Brien gets on the end of it.
It's been good, Harry. Wide to Shaw. And then Shaw using Maxwell's run. So the captain getting away from Ryder. They need a goal, the Bombers here. It's only a kick and a half in it, but I feel like Collingwood's got control of it for the moment. Maxwell's high one. Still Carlton was in that position this time last week. Anthony missed it. Thomas back to Pendlebury. He was looking for Davis. Reemers overran it. Hooker. Can he use down the line? Well, he wants Slattery now. Thomas cleverly got it away. And then Winderlick on the up. Lovett dropped it. Lockyer and Didak. Didak tried to draw Tuvey to the handball, but he just didn't read it. And then Lovett's kick puts great pressure on Pears. Chance for Collingwood.
Pendlebury spins out of trouble, goes outside the 50. Tuvey, Thomas, Didak loves this situation, measures the kick, goes to the pocket. Lockyer's taken the mark about 30 metres out.
Tarkin, you're going to have to come around now.
Didak
You're going to have to come around now.
in wonderful form. In the last 3 games, he's had 33, 34 and 39 possessions. At the time, each was a career high. So obviously, daring Peter Dacos to make a comeback.
The big thing is at 13 kicks, that the fact is if you can get the lot of the ball, and he's such a good kick, he just sets it up so well.
And this guy can kick too. Tarkin Lockyer. Masterful.
They really have stabilised this match, and there's not going to be any easy goals to be got. There's not going to be any easy possessions because both of these teams are pressuring quite well. We see here just numbers to the ball. Pendlebury able to get in and under. Tuvey again on the loose ball, and then Collingwood's ability to spread and to find a loose player. Lockie's been quiet, just his 3rd kick for the night, but he kicks directly and accurately.
So Collingwood making a move here. Lockyer, 21 goals for the season. He's kicked 3 a couple of times on Anzac Day. He's got a remarkable sequence of 121 consecutive matches. Well done, Davey. To Stanton. O'Brien to run hard. Well, no free kick. Probably good decision. And Lonergan did well. Prismal straightens up, goes for goal. Won't be one. Maxwell's got it. Good pressure again by Collingwood. The close on Stanton was important there. And Maxwell's kick is a beauty to you-know-who. Didak again. To Fraser.
Stay clear.
Back to Didak. He's like the quarterback, isn't he, at the moment? He kicks to centre wing.
That's 20 for him. Dempsey. Dick Close to the boundary line, Dempsey takes it across.
He would have been very appreciative of Harry O'Brien. Here, Stanton and Didak started on the wing together. Stanton got off, died a long way off Didak, but certainly his chase down by O'Brien was magnificent.
He's very sore off the back of that. Alwyn Davey might have a bit more space than normal in the next 5.
Welsh got it from Stanton. Dempsey, high ball. Davey knocked away by Didak. Down goes Shaw, stealing away as Lonergan. Towards the 50 and Lloyd didn't break stride. Back it comes to Lovett. Lovett strides to 50. Terrible kick. Chopped off by Brown to the outer side. Collingwood are queuing up around the outer side. Runs on to Didak. Cruising past O'Brien. Has the bounce. Now he settles just beyond the wing. Kicks down towards the attacking 50. McPhee came hard. Got a fist on it. Knocked it out of bounds.
Joe Watson has had such a spectacular year. Apparently did a fitness test and wasn't far away from playing. There's a thought had it been a Sunday match he might have fronted up tonight. And G. Fraser just got rid of Ryder, and there he goes, bang, and puts it through for a behind. It looked a chance, didn't it? Unfinished business, from Anzac Day. He's doing well, Fraser.
He's obviously a proud man. He's taken stock and he's dominated tonight. Just dominated.
So Stanton in the back half. They haven't been able to get the ball through the corridor like they did in the first quarter. The Bombers are going there again, but their numbers are against them.
Harry didn't need to do that. Davey gets the free. Back end of the centre square. Plays on. Welsh. Quieter tonight than he was last Friday night. Davey in all sorts of trouble. That's holding it. Collingwood's pressure terrific.
That's your mark. Clear it out.
Dick's got the footy. Heath Shaw on the overlap. Probing kick towards the attacking 50. Anthony tracks it. Can't get there in time. So boundary thrown out his side. Just over 5 minutes to half time. Again the pressure. The second man there to apply it. Comes across to Prismal from Hocking. Kicks it beyond the wing. Strong mark taken by Lloyd. Pressing up the ground now, Lloyd. Ambitious kick, kicked in hope. Winderlick made it look okay. Plays on. Short chip inside the 50. Low down. Lovett Murray.
When you've got that tall forward target that can lead straight and hard and take those contested marks, it just really does set up your offence. Lloyd's ability there to clock that mark on the lead.
He wants to give it off.
Created this opportunity.
Well, Blake Carousel has said it was worth 3 goals. If that's the case, he should just about score from here. Gives it some air. Distance wasn't a problem. It's out of bounds on the full.
He's had 3 shots for goal tonight, Lovett Murray, for 1 behind and 2 out of bounds. Willingham straight down the centre. Cloak and Pears and McPhee again to be third man, did very well. O'Brien to fetch it though. Takes Welsh on, gets it to Pendlebury. Kendlebury looked up, he liked what he saw. It was Heath Shaw, and then Shaw quickly on to Lockyer. Well, Fletcher, that was interesting. Good result in the end. Pears, Thomas, Pears, Fletcher looked, saw Thomas coming. Well, that's interesting. Goal!
Well, that was making the half chance. You'd like to have a look at this again. I thought Essendon had knocked the ball through from behind Fletcher there for a sec, but very smart thinking here by Thomas. Let's have a look at it. It's Thomas, isn't it? Fletcher's not sure what to do on the goal line. These soccer goals, we just see them so regularly just...
Gee.
Well, that's a dead heat.
Multiple goals for Thomas for the first time this season. It took a leg to be longer than his arm, but it worked out as far as Collingwood were concerned. And again, the defender put in an awkward situation there. Fraser again. Pendlebury comes away, kicks to half forward. Essendon in trouble now. Here's Dempsey. From half back towards the wing. Dyson is stretching. It stays in. It's 2-on-1. Dyson looks to the corridor. Nice kick to Lonigan. Plays on. Is Pinpoint with a kick. Skipworth has it, 70 metres from goal. Back leading is Lloyd, goes in that direction. Some holding, no free kick, falls in front. Up comes Shaw in the opposite direction. Windelek shorted brilliantly on his knees. Fraser again, knocked away by Davey. In goes Beams. How's that for a crowd at centre-half forward for the Bombers?
The defensive forward pressure in both sides' defence. The ball isn't really flying out of those congested situations in both forward 50s.
Mark McVeigh looking on, missing tonight, disciplinary reasons. Missed last week through suspension. Maxwell's kick. Wellingham, terrific pick-up, and then confidently takes Fletcher on, draws it to Medhurst. It was a poor handball in the end, but full credit to Dempsey, who read it very well. Can they get a goal on the rebound? They need it. McPhee running away with a bounce, trying to draw a man to him, goes wider to Fletcher. Fletcher's high ball. It's all Collingwood. Well, O'Brien missed it. Swan, O'Brien, conceding backwards, puts Presty under a bit of pressure, but he got a good bounce, and then Presty goes wide. They've got numbers again, Collingwood. Maxwell, Brown provides to Shepherd. That's a good kick over the top. Beams uses Harry O'Brien.
Now this will be interesting. Generally, they've got in behind them. Beams a centering kick. Brown comes on the lead, works his way in front. Cloak arrived quickly, and with some venom feeds it back. Swan, and again in the square, Medhurst unchecked, turns around and kicks the goal.
There was some strong body play by, I think it was Cloak, wasn't it, who just took on the Essendon tackler. There was two of them clinging onto him. I think we see this here. I think it was Cloak came through, just brushed off the tackle, and as soon as there was three Essendon players that are basically out of the contest, and he just popped into the goal square, Medhurst.
That's one. Snapped that. Thought they could have been shepherded through.
Dominating here, 6 goal to 1 quarter.
Kicked the last 5.
Yep. And plenty of goal kickers too, with Medhurst, Anthony, Thomas, Lockyer, Cloak and Swan.
Well, they've turned the screws. That's what they've done. They were challenged in the area that they're generally strongest, and they've been able to respond, the Pies.
Suffocating them, aren't they, at the moment? Beams, O'Brien, Pendlebury and Remus. Good job. Back to Skipworth, forced to go with a long one to centre-half forward. Well done, Presty. Lloyd's taken 6 marks, but no damage on the board. Maxwell, Didac the target. Beautiful mark. He just kept hocking at bay, didn't he? He knew exactly where the footy was. Made his run at it at the right time. Medhurst, who's got beautiful hands. And Collingwood look every bit like a top 4 team at the moment. Cloak.
And this is the interesting matchup because Cloak has gone a little bit deeper. They've decided to go with Pears rather than McPhee. Cloak might have the experience in that regard on the lead. I reckon McPhee had Cloak on the lead, but not Pears.
Now whistle's gone.
50-metre penalty.
Stay clear, guys. You're being stupid. You're being stupid. Hey, Lee. I know. No. Paid the 50. Clear away, guys. Right, I'm going to set it up.
Looks like it's against Remus. And Cloak kicks his 3rd goal for the half.
Yes, there was just a bit of an altercation 20 metres out from the Collingwood goal, but we see it here. I think an Essendon player ends up in a bit of a headlock. Not that one. And I think it was that slight headlock on Brown was the incident. Not a major incident, but a big penalty.
Well, Cloak becoming a major factor, isn't he, with his 3 goals in the opening half. And it's unravelling for the Bombers here. Coming apart at the seams. Lockyer through the centre. Collingwood winning most of the clearance breaks now. Hocking, well done. Just got to get a goal here. I know Times against them, they're going in the wrong direction. McPhee, well done. Gets it out wide. Welsh to Hocking, and then Hocking's little kick to Davey. And Davies quickly on. Well, Skipworth in trouble now. Goes backwards. Lucas on the up. Got a bit on it, but it's not going to be a score.
Yes, you wonder why Elwyn Davies doesn't go back and have a crack. He's not a long kick, but that would still only been a bit over a 45-metre shot directly out in front.
Can they conjure something here? Well, Fraser took it out of the air. Prismal, well done. Winderlick rather. And Collingwood's tackling has been a feature of the second term.
No, it's taken straight away.
29-21 now across the course of the game, but Essendon were up in that stat early in the match. Collingwood's pressure has definitely given them the opportunity to attack more effectively this quarter.
So Fraser using the body and then doing so well here and getting it out of the danger zone. They'll love that, Collingwood. First time this season the Bombers have conceded 7 goals in a quarter. Collingwood turned it up there, and at half-time they lead 9-6 to 3-8. It's 60-26 at the long break. This is Friday Night Footy.
You and Collingwood winning this year's grand final?
No, definitely. The only thing stopping us is ourselves.
Harry O'Brien, like a cork in the ocean, springs to his feet, kicks a goal. Well, it's certainly not the time to argue. Half-time on Friday Night Football, the margin 34 points. Collingwood on top. They lead 9-6-60 to 3-8-26. Travis Cloke back amongst the goals with 3, his best effort against Essendon 5, Anzac Day last year. Didak, 22 possessions to half-time has been incredible for Collingwood. He's really on a roll with his form at the moment. Lee Matthews, they've been incredibly impressive so far.
Well, I have. Essendon were very wasteful in the first bit of the game, but certainly that last 10 minutes of the second quarter, Collingwood's their all-over game was extremely good, and they were the ones who got the scoreboard ticking over as the game went on.
Lee Brown's tackling's been fantastic. He's had more tackles than kicks, and I think that epitomises what Collingwood actually brought to the table, especially in that second quarter. Their pressure in and around their forward 50 enabled them to enjoy that dominance on the scoreboard.
Things have certainly changed because in the first term they had poise, especially running off half-back, the Bombers.
Yeah, they did. They just increased the tempo, didn't they, Bucks? Just that ability to stop the ball coming in.
Yeah, I thought their ball control buffered Collingwood's pressure very well. There were times here when they were under intense pressure, but their commitment to numbers around the ball actually worked for them early in the match, even though they got those 2 goals away because they let Collingwood opponents goal side. You can just see here they're prepared to flick it around, use each other up, and it wasn't really until the early in that second quarter where they lost their composure a little bit. Perhaps Collingwood stepped it up just that little bit more and forced Essendon into disposal error, and that's where they got their scoring opportunities from.
Bucks, you talk about the corridor there, or not so much the corridor, but their commitment. They do have a commitment to the corridor, as the freeze cam shows. Let's take a look at this, Lee.
Well, a good example of this of when should you leave your opponent as a defender. We see Hocking here on Didak. As soon as the Essendon player touches the ball, now Essendon are in control. Hocking reacts really quickly, slips into the centre corridor. Lovett was good enough to get it over to him. This was just a long kick in, a really good contested mark by Lloyd. The Collingwood defenders did all the right things. They tried to get there to help Lee Brown, but he was good enough, Lucas, to take that contested mark 3-on-1.
I dare say that's what Mick Malthouse would have been talking about, that inclination of transition. Essendon were a lot better at that early, but Collingwood obviously picked up in that area.
Half-time on Friday Night Football, and the Magpies lead it by 34 points. They've been very impressive after the break on a big weekend of footy. Harry O'Brien talks with Tim Watson.
Left, right and centre, only one winner. And the Cats are purring. Is this the greatest St Kilda team ever? Couldn't ask for more than this, could you? Do you love me?
Talk about setting the stage for a magnificent night here at the MCG.
Friday night football, and away we go.
Davey has to fish for it, gets it now, check sides it, and kicks off a miracle goal.
Nobody near front, turns around, got the...
Saw Thomas coming, goal! Well, coincidentally, the last time these two teams played in any final was the 1990 Grand Final, and the margin's exactly the same at half-time. Collingwood by 34 points over Essendon. It's 60-26. Harry O'Brien having a lot to do with that resurgence in the second quarter. He caught up with Tim Watson during the week, and Tim asked Harry about how he analyses his opponents.
I only focus on maybe three of their positives, three of their best strengths, and then what I do is I highlight all of my strengths, why I think that I'll beat them. My experiences in life off the field have equipped me mentally to be able to handle any situation. So I literally write down my opponent or possible opponents, three of their strengths, and then write my name down next to it and list even 20 positives of why I'm going to beat this opponent.
So do you ever get in a game where, you know, an opponent's had a couple of goals kicked against them, or against you, and you're starting to think to yourself, you know, I'm ill-equipped to play on this bloke, or are you so confident in your own ability you believe you can go back to your own checklist and overcome that?
In my mind, I always tell myself I've never been beaten, but even though I have been beaten, I always think I've only been beaten because I didn't do, you know, what I set out to do. I get a lot of confidence out of knowing that if I do everything technically that I've been taught, then I'll beat my opponent more times than I'll lose.
Who's the Mick Malthouse you know?
Probably he's very much a family man, extremely understanding and empathetic, just a genius coaching mind, really.
Does he motivate you?
He does, yeah.
How does he do that?
I think more just through showing the faith that he has shown in me, and yeah, I've got so much time for him. I remember at my dad's funeral earlier this year, he was there. The week before round one, he was there, and I was able to, even cry on his shoulder, and yeah, I've just got so much time for him.
Harry, has there ever been a moment when you thought to yourself, okay, I've made it now, I'm an AFL player?
I've never said those exact words, I've made it. I've known since I was 15 that I belonged in the AFL. Like I knew that was my lifelong dream, and I'm a great believer. It's not an arrogance or anything like that. I'm a believer that if you want to become something in your life, then just become it. Don't wait for it to happen. I'll give you an example. If you look around the room, anything made by a human was an idea in their head before it actually got manifested into physical form. And that's no different for who you want to become as a person. Before Muhammad Ali was world champ, he actually believed it in his head that he was the world champ before he was. And that's the way that I believe you have to go about your day-to-day business when you want to achieve something. So when I got to the Collingwood Football Club without even being on the list, I just, rather than just do average things and just do the norm, I thought, no, I'm going to act as though I'm one of the first 22. I'm going to go to every coach. I'm going to demand the time from them, just as though I was, on the list. And that's the way I've always felt.
So you think anything's achievable? You think that you're capable of achieving anything in football?
Yeah, definitely.
You must have some pretty lofty goals, then, that you've set yourself.
Yeah, I've got some of my goals on and off the field are so high that I don't really feel comfortable sharing them with people, because I know that the world that we live in today is very negative. Look at the paper and you'll see we're a world that focuses on negativity, and that's why success is universally, I suppose, everyone wants to gain success, but only a small amount of people can do it. I love the quote, no one normal has ever made history, and that's true, because if people just did normal things, then there wouldn't be any great things achieved. So it's those people that can rise above the negativity that we're surrounded in and really believe in their goals, that's when things do get achieved. The best thing is, with adversity, when the great people that overcome adversity are the ones that use that adversity as the stepping stone towards their greatest triumph. So that's the way that we look at things.
Just feel like we're getting to know him, Bucks. I'd love him to be the mentor of my son.
Yeah, he's an old head on young shoulders. When he first came to the club, Questions O'Brien was a nickname I gave him because he wanted to know everything and he was impatient and he wanted to know it now. And you love a young fella with that sort of attitude because they're going to go far.
Yeah, he's an impressive character.
He's a joy.
Yeah, he is. We're going to go ahead to a game that should be outstanding on Sunday. We've all been looking forward to St Kilda and Geelong. Here are the changes. Just the one to both teams. No Hudson and no David Johnson. So Raf Clark comes into the Saints and Matthew Stokes comes back for Geelong. What's the key to the game, do you reckon, Nathan?
Well, look, I think it's defensive pressure. We know how good St Kilda are defensively. They've been able to stop their opponents from really kicking winning scores, and that's why they've been able to win their games. But I think Geelong are underrated in that area. We talk about their run and carry so much that we forget how good a defensive side they are. And I think these are basically the two best defensive pressure sides that will be playing against one another, and that's where the game will be won.
It's always the foundation of sort of great footy teams, and I think we've all admired this year how St Kilda have been so hard to score against. That's the basis of their particular game. And we think of Geelong as an offensive team, but their ability to stop the opposition and pressure the opposition is equally as good. So just can St Kilda maintain that kind of defensive pressure on the great Geelong team? That's what we're looking forward to find out on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, it's all going to happen at Etihad Stadium. It should be an absolute beauty. Well, the Bombers with so much to do here, they're 5.5 goals behind at half-time. It's Collingwood 60-26. Big crowd here tonight, including the reunion of the 84-85 Bomber Premiership teams, Walsh and Salmon, some of the great names here, and also Billy Duckworth there with Brian Wood as out comes Matthew Lloyd. They've got so much to do. Tim, you're a big part of that. You loved your interview with Harry O'Brien. Tim, that must have been an absolute pleasure.
Oh, Bruce, he's one of the more outstanding young men I've met in my time in football. He's thoughtful, he's articulate, he's intelligent. He spoke about a lot of things about her life, about the fact that he obviously bagged for Essendon as a kid. And one thing he did say, talking about his goals, he said, look, the moment I share them, he said, everybody knows what they are, then they become other people's expectations of me now. I've never heard anybody explain it in that way.
And Tim, what happened in that second quarter? Where can Essendon get back?
I reckon they've got one real problem, and that has been the fact that Didak has got so much of the ball. He's rolling up and providing that outlet across half-back. Now, it hasn't worked for them not to go with him. The backs are sitting back there waiting for the ball to come. I'd actually push up and go with Didak high and all the way. He's such a good controller of the footy. He's damaging Essendon at the moment.
Thanks for that, Tim. So, 34-point margin. Collingwood with a 7-goal second term.
The Bombers with a lot to do then. Friday night football. Started the second half.
And hasn't Josh Fraser been huge after copping the whack after Anzac Day? He's responded.
This time Ryder does win it. Stanton, though, runs into a dead end.
Thank you.
Yep. Josh Fraser rising to the challenge. Good players do that. Again, Ryder wins it down. Going to stop that. Ryder out of the middle, down towards half forward. Down in front, Swan, another possession. Love it. Needs a favourable bounce. Well, he made it his own, stifled the bounce and runs away forward of the wing. Tumbles one down towards half forward. Swan again. Shuffles across, not required. Ball is out of bounds.
One thing Collingwood won't be doing is resting on their laurels. They lost the game against this opponent that they thought they had in their keeping earlier this season. So they'll be wanting to start this half the same way they finished the first.
Come through.
Shaw and Winderlick. Been a free-flowing, high-scoring team, Essendon, over the last few weeks, but just the 3 goals tonight. Just wasted so many chances early in front of goal. Welsh stood up very well in the tackle, and then Remus gets a fair bit on it, but again, it's wide of the mark.
Who wants it?
And Collingwood to bring it out.
Come back around there.
Well, he's at the height of his power, Swan, isn't he?
He's happy to push deep too. He's more than happy to get into that back 50. I think the Collingwood midfield are sort of pushing back to help bring the ball out. Just a bit better than Essendon have been as the game's gone on.
Thanks, buddy. That's it, buddy.
So Fraser at half-back.
Very high kick towards the outer side wing. Dempsey floated through, missed the football. Dick comes away, kicks to half-forward. McPhee has held up pretty well, although Cloak has slipped him a few times, and that's proven costly. Fletcher. Lucas a long way back. Across the ground. Slattery. Short one is on. Dempsey, defensive side of the wing. Suddenly going pretty wide. Reimers, clever mark, now he's away. He's got pace. Has he got accuracy? Kicks. And kicks a goal.
Initially, the defence by Brad Dick out on that wing was very good. He was 2 against 1. It was Reimers and Dempsey, I believe. And Dempsey was able to split, get in the middle, and then used Reimers. Dick worked hard, but once again, we saw Didak do it in the first quarter, lost his feet when Winderlich took the mark out here. And Dick here needed to keep his feet and squeeze Reimers, get goal side and squeeze him and make him go back behind his mark, but not to be.
Well, that helps. Anthony Rocker, we saw him at halftime talking to Travis Cloak. Big question mark whether he can come back this year and play any part in Collingwood's drive towards September.
His body's failed him a few times, hasn't it?
Yep. Ryder winning it again to Davey. Back to Slattery. Slattery's low kick. Well, Maxwell probably could have marked it in the end. Winderlich couldn't quite get through. Goldsack had a bit of it. Then Nathan Brown did very well, and then Leon Davis. Slattery, terrific effort, but O'Brien ran it forward. Now Tuvey sweeps out the handball. Dane Beams, well done. That's a wonderful handball going backwards to O'Brien, to Didak, and then Didak on his wrong side, casually out in front of Dick. Handball back inboard, not a good one. Cloak had to stop, and then Ryder on the up.
They bring it away. Stanton. Dempsey, now McPhee to the wing and Monfries. They're trying hard at the moment, the Bombers. They need to be rewarded. Dyson, did he keep it in? Once his left side, runs into trouble. Just waiting for him was Wellingham. Like a Venus flytrap. Got him and the ball's out of bounds. Dyson pretty lucky there.
I think he had one of 2 intentions or one of 2 outcomes there. He's either going to holding the ball or he's going to get it out of bounds. And I thought that might have been deliberate.
Hawking over the football, O'Brien. Well done by Fraser, going back, intended for Wellingham. Fraser comes again, great second effort. Beams hand pass to Wellingham, knocked it down. Tuvey back to Wellingham. Goldsack out of defence. Very high ball to the wing. Medhurst, a little push, a timely one. Gets free once, twice. Hand passes wide. O'Brien. Collingwood on the move. O'Brien back to half forward. McPhee's in the road. Love it.
Through the centre to Welsh. That's how they started the game, Essendon. And then Welsh, Monfries. As Lee said, he keeps presenting Monfries. Long way from goal. Kick to full forward. Lloyd. Well done, Presty. Lloyd ducked his head down low. Good contest.
I'll have it. Let him up now. Ducked his head.
Essendon got their tails up. They actually had a couple of Stanton was running hard in the space in the forward pocket then as Monfries wheeled onto his right foot, just didn't see him.
Maxwell belts it away only as far as Winderlich. Stanton, a great tackle, Nathan Brown. Fraser, Monfries' left foot. Lloyd couldn't quite, still Lloyd. Presty did so well not to give away a free kick, and then O'Brien to Wellingham.
Bring it back.
It's a free kick to Collingwood, and now 50.
Okay, thank you. Just here.
What we saw from Simon Giacomo then was very similar to what we saw Welsh doing to Chris Judd in stoppages last week, and it's part of the game, that ability to pressure without giving a free kick away.
Was that the retractable 50? Was it awarded then pulled back? Haven't seen that before. Maxwell has the ball at centre half back. Obviously the umpire's deciding that perhaps Collingwood had the football and not Essendon. These things happen. Ball comes up towards the wing. Swan in front. Oh! Almost a beauty.
obviously Matty Lloyd shepherded by Dane Beams, but happy just to take him to ground.
Thomas found a way through. Wellingham. Fraser, one of his best tonight from the wing, drives it inside the forward 50. Hooker goes back over the top. Anthony. Play on's the call.
Just thinking about that 50-metre, perhaps the umpire decided that Beams wasn't a handball receive target, because if he'd have taken him out as a handball receive target, that would have been 50 given the new rule.
Didak getting rid of Davis, actually. Then a little one forward. McPhee high.
Swap. There it is there.
So against Brad Dick. Just hanging on the Bombers, but they've started this term a lot better. If they can get another goal here, things can happen. They kicked 16 of the last 18 goals last week. Not suggesting that'll happen tonight, but they have come from behind a couple of times this year. That's not good by Hooker. Pendlebury, Medhurst drew a couple to him, and then Goldsack to Davis. Well, that's a costly turnover.
Yes, I think Hooker tried to make something in that play, but when he turned the ball over by hand, you knew the Collingwood players were going to be streaming into the forward 50. As soon as the ball didn't get maintained by the possession by the Essendon team, there was a Monty, there was going to be a Collingwood player in the forward 50.
Davis has kicked 19 goals this year, and remarkably 16 of the 19 have come after half-time. He's been a good finisher for them in the second halves. It's a good kick.
I think Adam McPhee obviously playing on Travis Clyde, praying in front of him, trying to get loose, but you can see Davis is here on Dempsey, just short of this stoppage. Dempsey kept going to the ball, and Davis spat into the forward 50 into space. It wasn't Dempsey, it was Andrew Lovett. But the transition that you were talking about, Lee, worked in Collingwood's favour on that time.
Only 8 possessions, but he can hurt you. Young group from Kinglake enjoying themselves, and that's terrific. Ryder over the top, follows up, tries to flick it out. Dyson at the base of that, and the umpire will do it again. That was a timely goal. Big moment in the game. Bombers were really working hard, trying to get back into it. Pendlebury comes away. Maybe the air is out of the balloon. McPhee, he's in real trouble. That's holding it. Terrific tackle by Cloak. Emerging with it, Lockyer. Lockyer lines up. Going back is Fletcher, not in time. May have brushed the post, did it? Apparently not. Wrong side of the post. Hooker, anxious to make amends.
It's got Prismal short and on the burst. So Prismal at half back. A lot of the ball tonight, Prismal.
50 metres Leon, you went straight off the mark. Come on. No. Back to Brent Prismal. You knew where the mark was, mate. You just elected to go a metre or two straight over it. You knew where the mark, yeah, but you can't cut it off like that.
So Prismal up to almost half forward. Lucas starts off on a slowish lead. Skipworth provides one. He's going to go to Lucas. He kept going, Scotty. And then goes with a shorty to Slattery. It's a good mark.
Just back another metre.
Rather Skipworth, I should say.
Play on.
And Skipworth going back to Fletcher. Fletcher we know can long bomb, but he's on the back foot.
Play on, not 15. Play on.
Heard the umpy. They're doing it by degrees here, the Bombers.
Every player within 75 metres of the Bombers' goal.
So Pears, little one.
Oh.
Winderlick.
Just back a metre. Just back.
Didn't look 15, did it?
You're right. I think there's 17 Collingwood players in the back 50.
And Maxwell takes the mark. So the one captain led, and the other one was able to get over the top. Here's Wellingham.
Wellingham drives it to the outer side. Lockyer. That last couple of minutes would be hard to explain to Tom Cruise. Around the outer side, beyond the wing, stretching. Swan gets to it.
That was a 120-metre effort across the field. Prismal started with him but couldn't stay.
He's a genius, the Swan. Pendlebury. Interesting kick, effective. I'm not sure he meant it. If he did, it was a wonderful kick. Cloak took the mark. Kicks it right across the face of goal. Maxwell! Always his. The skipper didn't stick the landing.
Well, he took the last the mark from the Essendon kick into the defensive 50 for Collingwood, and then he's up the other end. You just see here Lockyer taking it out of the defensive 50, and that was the one. The next kick went to Swan, but great contested mark there by Maxwell.
So, for all their effort, Essendon could fall further behind. Well, Maxwell never gave it a chance.
Seen a few big misses tonight from set shots from both teams in the end. The Bombers started off that way. Dyson wide to Ryder.
2 metres, Josh. Thank you.
Ryder, but not a great option though. Lucas has done very, very well there. It was a 50-50 at best, you would have thought, for Lucas, but he was able to take it, controlled it with one hand and then brought it down. Another high one, and Skipworth's in a hopeless position here. Outnumbered completely.
Blood rule.
So someone coming off for the blood rule here.
Thank you. Aiden. Yes, no. Mr. Skipworth.
Not sure what the sack was thinking.
So Maxwell.
Takes a seat.
See the arms.
Boundary throw in just outside the attacking 50. One of the few pauses we've had tonight. Pendlebury and Swan combine. Ryder, Didak did well. Fraser back to Swan. 3 very instrumental players. Kick around the outer side, not good. Dempsey gets back. Bombers on the move again. Dempsey across the ground, comes to Hooker. Alongside the centre circles. Feeds it inside the corridor. Prismal goes to one of their longest kicks. That's Fletcher. Gets onto it offline. Lloyd on his chest.
Don't draw him on now because you've got to come back around, Matty.
Swan and Medhurst were in the area, but if Simon Prestigiacomo can't put the fist on it, perhaps one of those two could have gone third man up, but they had that much confidence in him to bring it to ground.
Difficult kick for a left footer. Twice he's booted 8 against the Magpies. Goalless tonight. That's a clever kick. Kick of a champ. Puts it through.
Just wondering if Nick Maxwell got that blood nose in the marking contest. Might have been an idea to make it obvious to the ump to give someone else a shot at goal. But as the ball came in here, Matthew Lloyd's body work has been very good so far tonight, and it has to be against a player like Preston.
I've seen that in the screen all the time, and there are extra Collingwood jumpers in that marking contest, even though Essendon have got a couple.
So 920 goals for Lloyd, exactly half of them at the MCG, 460. Only Richo on 464 has kicked more goals at the cricket ground. So Lloyd, good mark. He's been so competitive tonight. He hasn't had a lot of scoreboard pressure on Collingwood, but that's a good second half goal. Still a 5-goal margin though, and they need the next one. Good tackle. Then Cloak, who's imposed himself on this match.
Nathan.
Yep.
6 goals in the last 2 weeks. I feel like he's building up for a big second half of the year.
Well, last week against Fremantle, he looked like he had the hunger back, and he's carried that on tonight.
Swan to Beams, and then Beams off balance with the kick. Taken by Dempsey, and then Dempsey takes off. Good kick to Skipworth. Skipworth looks up. He's got Stanton short. Not a great kick off the boot. Made it very difficult. Lloyd backtracking. Can't quite get their ball. Skipping away. And a wry smile from the captain and the coach. Well, he knows the job's not quite done yet.
One thing I do like about Essendon and the way they play, they're never beaten, and I reckon they play, their low standard is still pretty high. They've got a consistent style of football that they commit to.
Bree, Wellingham, Didak. Welsh was the third man up. If you go up third, you've got to hit the footy. Didak. Collingwood had the extra man on the ground. Cloak, Wellingham out of bounds. So the Magpies looking for 6 straight. No doubting there for real. Thrown in, Ryder in front. Oh, wonderful by Fraser over the top. What a night he's had. Hocking, though, emerges with it. Goes to Stanton. McPhee. Untidy kick going back with courage. Davis takes the mark, shy of half-back. Beams his metres in the clear. He can run up the gut now. Long kick. Anthony drops back. Dangerous. Very dangerous. How often have we seen that tonight?
You've got to remember, we're looking at a player that was recruited as a fullback. Not that bloke, but this bloke. What a great mark.
Take it out, please, Amita.
It was a beauty.
Thanks, Henry.
Check that hand for Velcro. The kick from 15 metres out directly in front. Whoa! Most unlike him. Well, that's his second miss from inside 20.
There's been a little bit of fullback in these last couple of kicks.
There's been a number of occasions. The Essendon defenders are really trying to take the front position. McPhee's been trying to do that on Cloak, and the ball's come over the top a little bit, an advantage to Collingwood. But I think, generally speaking, you've got to try and get your defenders being prepared to take that front spot.
So a couple of posters to Anthony from point-blank range. Most unlike him. He's got a great pair of hands. Lucas catching it well there. Hocking, Welsh, Fletcher. Should be okay. Kick to Lovett Murray. Just can't make many mistakes, Essendon, for the rest of this quarter, you think. A goal or two here, and game on, you would think. Lovett Murray wide, Lovett.
No, 4 metres around.
So here's Lovett, winding himself up now. Good looking kick. Oh, well done at the back, Wellingham. Monfries kept down low. High tackle first up, it looked, but he was low.
Yeah, he tried to drop his body again, drop to his knees and get a free kick that he received at the other end of the field, but not to no avail on that occasion.
Play on it here.
Pendlebury, quick hands, O'Brien, Didak.
Play on, Rolling.
Davey was chasing, hence the problem. Skipworth, stationary, kicks it down towards full forward. Could have almost been a free kick there to Lonergan. Goes again, had it slapped away. O'Brien, hot potato. Slattery stole it away from Prestigiacomo. Kicked it straight up in the air. Thumped out of there by Lonergan. Turning around as Lucas. Behind. Scotty Lucas made his debut against Collingwood, Anzac Day 1996. His first opponent was Shane Watson. Not the cricketer, but probably Shane, the footy Shane, is still the fitter of the two Shane Watsons.
Skunk.
Wellingham, oh no.
Bring it back.
It's a bad defensive error from the kick-in, but
just on the corner if it was.
one of the things that Collingwood have done really well from this last couple of quarters is just to get that extra player or two back in defence. And every time Essendon go forward now, there's just an extra Collingwood jumper or two between them and their goal. And the Essendon spares are getting stuck in the middle of the ground. They're not being able to really get back so much into Collingwood's forward line.
The paradigm there is you've got to think inside the square. Going after the football, Didak. Hurriedly towards the boundary. And Lucas can't keep it in. It will be thrown in.
So Maxwell itching to get back on. He's a handy man when the ball's coming in high to the forward line.
Seen a few of captains with the blood noses recently.
And the piggy snout.
Brown got down low with Hocking. You wouldn't have been too vain to wear one of those bucks, would you?
whatever you need to do to get out in the field, Bruce. A little.
So a couple of the big names for Collingwood.
I would have been happy with the disguise.
Would have been a lot of tape, Dino. Here's Lucas bringing it back. She's a good kick. Scotty's done it. Closing the gap.
Well, that was a much better snap. The last time, I reckon he went about 350 degrees to get back onto his left foot to snap it when he had a few options, but this was just a legitimate one step out of a clearance, just knowing where the goals are, and that's instinct. He's done that quite a few times in his career, and he's definitely enjoyed that opportunity.
They're working hard for their shots now, Essendon. They're just not getting easy, conventional shots. Someone has to do something special.
First time tonight the Bombers have kicked consecutive goals. What about Scott Lucas? 12 goals since his return 3 weeks ago. Making a statement. Brown knocks it down. Prismal digs it out. Only as far as O'Brien. Spins away from one man. Takes them on. Penetrating kick. Inside the forward 50. Cloak was third man up. Falls in front. Dick. In he goes. Dick. Kicks it with the outside of the boot.
It's a nice finish.
It wasn't bad.
On his wrong foot. And that shows you how important that instinct is to play on from, this was a mark, but Harry decided that I'm just going to go here. I'm going to turn it offense or defense into offense as quick as I can. Yeah, there was a contest there, 2 tall targets, both manned up, but a loose crumb in space, and Brad Dick was able to swoop on it and finish it on his wrong foot.
Such a joy to watch, isn't he? It's only the second time he's played against the Bombers. The other was on Anzac Day 2007.
I mean, he's so slimly built, but he seems to be able to still hold his strength and his ground and his balance.
And Collingwood get back to that very cosy margin. Essendon hasn't gone away, though, have they?
Let him up now, let him up.
It's 5 goals. It's a lot in the context of the night because it's been low scoring.
Go on up, guys.
But
no blocking.
They're keeping on going, the Bombers. Lockyer, toe poking it. Brown will fancy himself here. Did pretty well, Reimers. And then Brown's second effort, good. Lucas in his back.
Just there, Scotty. Just enough to put
He's
him
played 36 out of a possible 38 games, Brown. He's been very, very good. Lockyer to Beams. Across the ground. Shaw just showed a bit of it to Lloyd. He's been an Anzac medal winner, Shaw, in the past. Uncertain, then decides to go wide and then long. Anthony a target. Good contest, Pears, Dempsey, and then Dyson had to hack it forward.
Well done, Lonergan. And again, lacking support, looked up, no one down the ground. Comes to Stanton. Stanton chips to half forward, collision. Oh, arriving very strong down there was Thomas. Socket off the ground, but in the wrong direction by Turvey. Or was it Maxwell? Socket off the ground again by Stanton, wide of the mark.
Alan Davies' effort there was actually just to block sweep the feet. This contest here was fantastic by both Davey and Thomas, but Alan Davey was able to take the Collingwood player off his feet to try and create space for his teammate to have a shot at goal off the ground there.
I was pretty happy that a soccer goal finally missed. I mean, you're supposed to pick the ball up and kick it, not soccer it all the time, surely.
Heathshaw's got the footy on the outer side. We'd like to editorialise. Off hands, Dick. Not so flash. Swan back to Dick. Dick on the boundary line, a centering kick. Almost Medhurst falls behind Anthony in desperate trouble. Medhurst a half chance. Stolen away by Dick. Slapped away by Dyson. In comes Lockyer. Picked up down there by Anthony. Down he went. Dyson. Love it. They weathered the storm. They're well-drilled, Essendon. If ever a group of players have bought into a system, I'd say it's them. Stanton comes on again. Strong tackle. The sack went down. And the umpire will ball it up.
Well, Matty Knights wouldn't have been happy at halftime, but I reckon he'd be pretty happy with some of the things he's seen in this quarter.
Yeah, they're fighting now.
Some great defensive pressure on Tuvey a moment ago. Beams continuing to get touches, kicks inside the 50. McPhee had to wait. Well, he rode it okay, and then Slattery under pressure. Pears, McPhee, just missed Welsh, needs a bounce. Free kick, Nutt didn't get a Didak, unlucky, back to Cloak. Cloak's penetrating handball to Aubrey. Then Aubrey, back to Cloak. Cloak, waiting, well done. It was a good kick and Tuvey was onto it.
There was no one long. There was 3 or 4 Essendon defenders had dropped back. Probably just the Brad Dick and Leon Davis long forward. So Travis Cloak didn't want to go to that option.
To Didak, and then Didak kicks to full forward. Won't quite get there. Dick. Oh. He's a hard man to stop.
It's lively.
Here's Lloyd. He's at left half back. Held on to it a while. Goes wide. Lovett Murray just inside the boundary line. Marvellous crowd. Good game of footy. The Bombers finding this tempo a little bit tough, but gee, they're having a crack. Down went Prismal. Down goes Davis. Slow whistle. Holding the ball.
No effort at all, Leon. No effort at all. Thank you.
Lonigan. He can't believe it, but the ball is long gone. Down towards half forward. Goldsack got a fist on it. Wellingham went down. Pendlebury across to Nathan Brown.
Davis wide. Lloyd corrals him. Davis is okay with that. Beautiful kick to Nathan Brown. Brilliant kick by Davis.
He's got to pull up. Play on.
And then Brown loads up to full forward. Anthony and Dick are there. Dick on the ground. Well done by Dempsey getting across. And then Wellingham runs it over.
Tried to soccer that through, didn't he, Lee?
Pick it up. These freak soccers, they're not supposed to happen that much, are they?
No.
Well, Dick's a bit like Davis. Most of his goals are after half-time, and he's... Oh, here's Fraser. Oh, that's a wonderful effort. He's going to love that. He's stood like a colossus tonight. He really has played like a giant, hasn't he? He's been magnificent.
He definitely enjoyed that too. He's taken the ball out of the rucky. Like him when he gets in this situation, he gets aggressive. He's prepared to do the body work early and give himself the space to move onto the ball. He's done it 2 or 3 times, and when he's doing that, you know he's playing his best footy.
What a wonderful response after Anzac Day, where he was pilloried. He's back in business tonight, having the last laugh. Wins it down again, decisively. Swan went to ground, leaping the pack like Timmy Watson is Tuvey. Kicks inside the forward 50, knocked down by Fletcher. Pendlebury went to ground. Well done, Dempsey comes away. Dyson, still they want the corridor. Hooker, Lovett Murray to Lovett. How often that happens. Kicks inside the forward 50. Davey. Oh, wonderful closing speed by O'Brien. Couldn't hang on. Goldsack to Brown to O'Brien. Back to Goldsack. Goldsack hugs the boundary line with a kick. Wonderful, effective kick taken there by Didak. On to Thomas. Thomas holds up. Fraser again. Doing much as he likes. Over the shoulder. Swan. Another possession. Fletcher. Right half back for the Bombers.
Just hanging on here, McPhee to Prismal. Back from Stanton. Well, they threw a lot at them, Essendon, but they didn't make any inroads. It was 3-4 to 3-2 Collingwood. And they stretched that 34-point lead to 36 at three-quarter time. 82 to 46. This is Friday Night Footy.
Sunday on 7. It's a blockbuster edition of Game Day. The big names covering the big games. Lee Matthews, Terry Wallace, Dean Bailey and Adam Cooney are all in to give you the full preview of the Saints and the Cats battle for footy supremacy. Game Day, Sunday at 10.
three-quarter time here, so a 6-goal margin, 82-46. Cloak with 3. Didak 30 again for the 4th consecutive week, and Swan also getting high numbers. So Collingwood with a big lead. Lee, what's the power play for tonight?
Well, we thought they'd have a look at Josh Fraser, who's had an excellent game in the ruck. That centre bounce ruck work when he popped it over his left shoulder to Davis. And this one in the forward pocket in that 3rd quarter, took it on his own, took it out of the ruck, kicked the goal. Didn't bother about the ground level. 27 hit-outs, had a terrific night, Josh Fraser.
Sure has, playing like a #1 draft pick, isn't he? He's playing a great game. Let's go down and join Gary O'Donnell with Tim.
I do. The boys were just talking about Josh Fraser and the performance from him tonight. That late goal from him really hurt too, didn't it?
It did. Every time we've got a goal or two, they've got one back. So we're a little bit better in that quarter, but yeah, Fraser's doing well. Credit to him. Got to take our chances going in the forward 50. Collingwood have been very good. Maxwell's carving us up, reading the ball very well. So we've got to try and use his man. Where is he? Who knows?
Where can you get some spark from in this last quarter?
Well, look, we play a fast game, so the boys have got to open the game up. Cut on the 45s. Put Collingwood under pressure with our pace and see what happens. Get the first couple. You never know.
Are there any moves that we should be looking forward to in this early part of the last quarter?
I would have thought you'd put your ball winners inside. Give them a speedy bloke on the inside as well. We need probably Winderlick, Reamers up forward that are smart players that might be able to kick a goal for us as well.
Thanks for your time, OD.
Good stuff, isn't it?
Well, it is. I mean, as I said, I think what's happened as this game got on, they just keep getting the extra play back, whether it's Heath Shaw or Nick Maxwell. All of a sudden, the Essendon forward line, when the Essendon are getting the extra play or two in the middle of the ground, but when they go into their forward 50, they tend to be outnumbered, and Collingwood are turning them around.
Seems like a breath of fresh air there, Gary O'Donnell. Thinking beyond the cliche, that was great stuff. He's always been like that, at the forefront of problems in the AFL at times too. We think back to some of the racial issues. He stood firm on that. We like him a lot. 12-10, 6-10, three-quarter time at the G on a Friday night.
You mentioned about getting numbers back in defence, Lee. There's no doubt that Collingwood's work rate's been high. They do definitely roll up. They support their defence very well, but their balance to be able to work hard forward as well is something that some clubs can't find the balance of, but Collingwood are in a good place at the moment.
Can ride a lift. Well, they got lift off. Socket off the ground there by Dyson. Lloyd. Reamers. Long kick, a spiral. Goes towards goal. Getting back is Maxwell. Well played by the skipper. Just knocked it across the line. No thought of a deliberate free kick there. Didak again, 31 possessions. Drives it towards the outer side. Awkward one, this one. How will it bounce? Lovett will be first back. Turvey tracking him. He won't be nimble enough. Lovett. Well done, Stanton. Slips away. Monfries close to the boundary line. Pears tries to go to Stanton. That is okay. Short one beyond the half-forward flank, and the mark is taken by Lovett-Murray.
And then Lovett-Murray quickly on with a long, high one to full forward. Winderlick front spot. Shaw belts it away. Well, they sort of waited for it, the Bombers. O'Brien didn't. He was onto it in a hurry. Back to Swan, to Fraser. Fraser, Swan and Didak, three of the big stars for Collingwood tonight. Fraser's little kick to Dick. And a very good third quarter. Dick, that's a poor kick. Wellingham put under pressure. So the advantage given, here's Reamers. Does he taking Fraser on a bit here? Then Reamers with a left foot, not all that good a kick. Trapped by Goldsack. Back to Goldsack. Onto him, Monfries.
Even though Essendon weren't able to get a score out of that last inside 50, as we see
Dempsey.
Perhaps an errant hit there. Lovett-Murray did get up on the lead and did drag Nick Maxwell out of that defensive 50. That's what Essendon will be trying to do this quarter.
Dempsey in trouble.
Might have caught one in the eye.
Bounce just outside the 50 then. Fraser could have almost got a free kick. Improvising was Turvey. He bounces it out of bounds at the interchange gate.
Seeing they're dropping off so well, those Collingwood defenders, I wonder whether the Essendon have to try and get 5 or 6 of their forward, trying to bunch and play in a bit deep, 20 metres out, and try and give a bit more midfield space. Maybe that might suit their runners.
Fraser again doing much as he likes. Drives it towards half forward. Anthony bounced off his chest. Dick is outnumbered. That generally doesn't stop him. That was terrific play. Gets it back. Tuvey was the man who hand passed it to him, and Dick pops it inside the forward 50. Dane Swan's taken the mark. Coming up for his 25th possession. Well done, Brad Dick.
The thing about Dane Swan, he does get it all over the field. He does run hard. He gets back into the back 50, and he said at certain times he'll get deep into the forward line, but just he runs hard to get on the end of the next phase of play.
Remarkable athlete. Not a remarkable kick. Misses to the left-hand side. When he started, I think it's fair to say he looked like he'd become a journeyman. Well, he's anything but that now.
Do you know, Dennis, in the last, I think it's 24 years to be exact, only 2 Collingwood players have had 20 votes or more in a Brownlow medal. One of them sitting with us tonight, Nathan Buckley, and the other's Dane Swan. He might be a chance again this year, Swan.
Having a wonderful year. And Collingwood winning their share of matches, going for 6 straight tonight. Winderlick, who's been ineffective at the base of that pack, and the veteran umpire Kennedy wants it.
Just got to put this in. Bucks did do it 3 times, Dennis.
She was quick to tell you. So a bounce down towards left half forward. Fraser again got it to a teammate. Cloak applies a strong tackle on Welsh.
Everyone, thank you. That's great. Thank you.
Look out.
Joshua, we're right now, please.
He's given me the cold shoulder, Bucks.
I haven't. Lee did it more than that, I'm sure.
What's that phrase up for you?
That's my man.
But he did win one, Bucks.
Did.
Fraser, Lockyer.
Just put a second one. First one was okay, didn't it?
Heard Hayden Kennedy. So Lockyer from half forward.
Come out there, boys. Play on.
Lee Brown.
Stay out, Owen. There it is, Dustin. Thank you. Wait for it. Stay out. Stay out. Play on. Play on.
Trouble.
And can Davey cut it off? He went off the ground. Goldsack did well. Stood up. Took the hit. Clever by O'Brien to Maxwell to O'Brien. Irresistible Collingwood at times. O'Brien running and bouncing a couple and then decides to go with a high one to the pocket. Good mark. Hooker. It wasn't a great kick coming in now. Reamers over the top. Slattery. He's got a couple of short ones on. He gets it back from Stanton now to Lovett Murray.
So again, they've got to build from the back here. Lovett Murray, left half back. Little chip, Dyson. It's 15th possession, Dyson. Close to the boundary line. How's that? Standing right on the boundary, Monfries. Monfries drives towards half forward. Heath Shaw got a fist on it. Well controlled by Wellingham. Wonderful reflexes to Pendlebury. O'Brien, Lockyer, Davis just creeping onto the ground like a librarian. Kicks it down towards half forward. Missed down there by Fletcher. Goes back. Tries to flick it across to Hocking. Well, there you go. What was that?
Very strong play from Hocking, and
Just start.
ability to hold his feet here and ended up flipping Medhurst off him.
Medhurst with the
koala tackle.
I think it was the flying leg scissors. Hocking goes back. Whoops. Hooker had a slip. Still took the mark to Lucas. Sent him back deep a few times tonight.
Essendon just haven't been able to find the corridor early this quarter. They've been slow and they've been wide, which is not what we've seen of them when they play their best footy.
It was a good mark. May have hurt his shoulder in the process. Prismal towards half forward. Stanton.
It's what happened to them in the second quarter a bit too. They just couldn't penetrate. And that's danger. Didak, well, he nearly got him the first time. Releases Beams. Now Cloak running. Beams decide to go back. Well, that was interesting. Medhurst to Beams. Now Cloak's in a spot where he could do some damage. Well done by Slattery to hold his feet. Tackle on Anthony's a good one. Medhurst went to ground. Stanton, Didak, almost. Then Anthony. Didak still might get a crack at it. No, McPhee. Stanton. So the Bombers bring it out. Lucas backtracks, goes back. to Prismal, to Dyson. Some tied players here. Back to Lucas. Lucas through the centre. Can this kick be a telling one? Well, he's found Skipworth. And the Bombers build his pairs.
To half forward, Winderlick will need to go. Clever by Wellingham. Got the fist in to the advantage of Lockyer. Fraser like a rover through midfield. Thomas around Pears. Short one to half forward and Beams. Cruising past Thomas. Pears did well to run with him. Beams onto the chest of Cloak. Can't deny the spirit of Essendon. Can't deny the class of Collingwood.
Travis Cloke's work rate as good as any, but he's actually been allowed the luxury of playing deeper tonight. He hasn't had to push up wide outside 50, and he's been more effective because of it.
Nice angle for a left footer at his fourth. This has been a tricky end though. And this one goes the other way. Reverse swing off hands. Out of bounds.
He's had a lot of shots tonight, Cloak. He's been in some dangerous positions. 3 so far. Collingwood still sit on this 6-goal lead. Fraser got a fist to it, or a finger really. And again the Bombers.
Holding the ball. 2 Collingwood players holding it in. Your kick, Brent. Prismal. Shut.
Again the Bombers defending hard. Now Prismal wide.
Thank you.
Slattery just can't break a line in a hurry here, can they? They can't penetrate. Hocking. Slattery, love it. Who can usually break a line. Goes through the centre. Kicks to half forward. Lloyd, big fly. She hurt Swan on the way down, and then Winderlick's kick inside. Back to Prismal. Little kick a bit too cute. And then Stanton, that's not good. Davis, O'Brien. Davey couldn't bring him down. And now Thomas in the back half. That's a lovely, lovely kick.
Cloak didn't break stride. Almost a spiral downwards full forward. The involuntary fist came from Hooker. Down goes Dick over the top. Slattery. Tied up. Umpire just lurking.
On now.
Decides to ball it up. And I tell you what, Matthew Lloyd plays with an edge.
Yeah,
he's taken a bit. He doesn't mind giving a bit.
Yeah, Swanee was a bit unlucky that he had one of the older school players forwards coming up against him.
Anthony just shepherds it through. Beams kicked the goal.
They have been consistently good with their pressure, Collingwood. They haven't allowed Essendon to have the same freedom that they enjoyed in the first quarter, and they really have been able to dominate with their positioning and discipline around stoppages and their endeavour to pressure, and that was a fantastic goal. As Swanee sucks in a few big ones, I think that knee got him right where it hurts.
He's the only teenager out there for Collingwood tonight, first-year player. The only first-year player for either team, Beams. He's played 6 of the first 8 games and now the last couple, so he's doing a terrific job in his first season. And Collingwood's certainly safe now. Let's see if the Bombers can respond. Love it. Good kick to Winderlick. Lloyd takes off. Winderlick holds it up now. Again, Lloyd leading for him. And then Winderlick's low kick.
Scott Lucas.
Well, he
just back about a metre.
Took the mark in the end. He's interesting, Lucas. Dennis talked about the goals since he's come back.
Thanks, Dave.
He's kicked 12 and this is his 4th game back, so you've got to be happy with that. Doesn't look like he's going to tear a game apart anymore, does he? But he's doing a bit.
He's moving better than he was 6 weeks ago.
Can he kick a 3rd goal here? Looks good off the boot.
True.
So he's got 3, Scotty.
And he's roamed far and wide, but he's actually got a bit of ball in hands. He's had 13 kicks, 5 handballs, 3 goals. He's certainly got those 3 goals, obviously in the forward line, but he's actually got right upfield quite often as well. So he's been covering a a lot of ground. But I've been really impressed by the Collingwood back six, the way they're working together. That's a really solid group at the moment.
Well, he'd certainly have mixed emotions. He knows they've worked pretty hard tonight, but Collingwood have had too much. 466 career goals now for Scotty Lucas, who passed him at Brereton tonight, 464. Tuvey combines with Shaw over the top beams, growing in stature. Those tattoos stick together. Long kick inside the forward 50 from Swan. Getting back is Hocking. Hocking a bit of a fumble, needs to be careful now. Flicks it out, Lonigan. McPhee, short one. Almost devoid of ideas now, though. Strong tackle by Lockyer, making no concessions. Anthony's over the football. Could be holding it, I think. Now the umpire will come in and ball it up.
Spilled in the tackle. Thank you.
Boy, just this little fumble. As soon as you fumble the ball once, the opposition tackler is going to be at you, and Skipworth just didn't take it first field.
Hocking again. Lonigan, Skipworth, that's better. Welsh, McPhee from half back. A well done cloak. Cut down the angle, thumped it out of bounds.
So another great crowd at the Melbourne Cricket Ground tonight. 77,699. So in the last 2 weeks, over 160,000 to see Essendon Carlton and Essendon Collingwood tonight. Maybe the threat of rain kept 5,000 away, but it's still a great crowd. 78,000 basically.
Freezing too.
It is cold.
Right on the 50.
You had to go at Tim for saying that earlier.
Well, Tim hasn't spoken for a half. He's frozen, I think. Hooker. Well done, Winderlick. Oh, that's high, surely. And Hooker just paddling it forward. Dyson on the up. Slattery's look away. But Tuvey has been pretty good, I reckon. Hacks it forward and Mr. Gadget. What a remarkable player he still is, Fletcher, at 34 years of age. As with Medhurst tonight, he just hasn't been able to get off the ground as well. He's had a lot of ankle problems this year, trying to run himself back into the form that won him All-Australian selection last year. Here's Remus.
Remus to half forward. Davey hit pretty hard by O'Brien. Gets a free kick. They're making no concessions. Davey across the ground to Winderlick. Winderlick alongside those centre circles. Barely the 15. Welsh chips just outside the 50. Dyson.
Thank you.
Taking it forward by degrees. Lucas drifting back.
Move it on.
I think she's just about done. Fletcher. Winderlick. Oh, O'Brien knocked it down in front. Prismal gave it across towards Winderlick. Winderlick put a teammate under pressure. Eventually Hocking's got it. Got it from Slattery. Goes down towards full forward. Getting a fist on it going back is Brown. And he knocks it across the line. They've got all the answers, Collingwood, at the moment. Lockyer to Shaw.
Spoke about that back group, and Shaw and Maxwell tend to play the float off roles. Pressure Tacoma, Brown take the big guys. O'Brien's flexible. That's a pretty good back six.
Pendlebury, good solid return for him tonight. Just had the 1 week out with a knee after the Sydney game. Lockyer, penetrating kick and a good kick. Dick almost. Wellingham busy. By the Medhurst, brilliant kick.
Here.
Very constructive Medhurst.
Yeah, when he gets the ball here with about 55, 60 out, I don't think there's many better players in the competition. Steve Johnson's very good at it, the creativity of his use into forward 50, but Paul Medhurst is challenging Johnson in that area because he plays on quickly and he's got great vision and the ability to put the ball to advantage with any number of kicks.
Kicked a couple of goals last week against Fremantle Beams. A chance to kick a couple tonight against the Bombers. Played very well, the teenager, the rookie.
He's had a solid game, 24 touches, 8 marks, 6 inside 50s, a couple of goals. He's fitted in very well. No doubt that he came onto the scene with big raps. He's a serious young unit, and he's got high ambitions to make a career out of this game, and he's definitely started it well.
(95-54). Fraser goes after it. Didak. Swan. Close to the boundary line then. Frisnell. Love it. Feigns a hand pass. Hangs on.
Lonigan over the top to Dempsey. And then Dempsey draws a man to him. Difficult for Lloyd. Did pretty well actually, Lloyd. Here's Swan. Lee talked about the coverage from Swan. He's at both ends. Presti caught. And now Goldsack wrapped up.
Well done there. That's the ball control that I was speaking about that Essendon did so well in the first quarter. Goldsack there, his ability to hold that in and that tackle and draw this ball up. So good play.
Ryder. And then Maxwell's kick just couldn't get much on it. And Remus marks within distance, you would think. Kicked the third quarter goal to start the second half. Hasn't played a lot of footy this year, so his second half will be a bonus. He's played the last 3 games. Such an impact in his second year last year. And that one just hooking it. And it's been a bit of a story tonight. It hasn't been the difference, but early on it did make a difference, not being able to convert from the set shot.
Tuvey, good grab.
Back behind Mark Thomas, play on.
Thomas still doesn't get enough of it. Pendlebury on the outer side, right on the boundary line.
19.
Taking his own sweet time, goes down towards half forward, and Dick.
Courtney, back to meter, please. That's it there.
Dick coming up to 17. Just outside the 50, sets it up towards full forward. Cloak always and forever.
Got to pick you up then, Den. 19 touches in 60 minutes of footy.
Who's that?
Dale Thomas and a couple of goals.
Well, we've seen this play a bit tonight, haven't we, where the Essendon defender has taken the front spot and the ball's just drifted long and the Collingwood forward has just been able to hold them under it.
Cloak comes in and kicks the goal. He's got 4.
He has played a lot deeper.
Yeah,
there's no doubt
tonight,
that.
Yeah.
And when Collingwood are moving the ball quickly through the midfield, it allows that luxury. I mean, John Anthony's a good tall target forward, but mainly on the lead. Travis Cloak, with the dominance that Collingwood have enjoyed through the midfield since quarter time, has been afforded the luxury of playing deeper. He's actually situated in the goal square at the moment on McPhee, and that was a great contested mark.
So Cloak, Tom Cruise looking on.
Still asking questions.
Yeah, well, he would have liked that. Marks inside 50 in the second half, 16-4 Collingwood, and that they came into this game number 2 in the competition, only behind Geelong for marks inside 50, the Pies. So the first of a couple of big Friday nights for Collingwood. The Bulldogs next week. Essendon, of course, have been prominent on Friday night over the last few. Dyson's long ball forward. Gee, splitting the pack again, Lloyd, but taking a couple down with him, including his old mate Lucas. Lockyer running hard to O'Brien. Davey can't get him. Gee, that's a wonderful mark by Davis. O'Brien has a lot of penetration in his kicks, doesn't he? And Davis wide, Dick trying to bring it back to Cloak.
And we've talked about the hard running of the Collingwood team. Well, they're about to have about an interchange about once a minute. They'll get up towards 120, and the fact that they just keep players freshening them up on the bench every now and again just enables some of these guys just to burst run extremely well.
Dempsey tracks it back towards the boundary line. Looks inboard to Fletcher. Fletcher across the ground. Reimers wearing his lucky boots. He changed them at half-time. Wheels around. Short one back to the corridor. Taken by Hocking into Mines Hocking. Here's a man who can run and carry. Lovett down towards half forward. Good Shepherd bought him some more time. Lovett runs inside the 50. What a beautiful finish. Too little, too late.
It was a lovely finish, but there's an Essendon player that had a part to play that won't be in the screen here. To the left, Reimers actually, Hocking looked around to handball to him, and Reimers was pointing to Lovett in the centre corridor. So that's a great unselfish play, and Hocking turned back, gave it to Lovett, and then Lovett did the rest through the corridor, and a little less pressure than Collingwood have been able to put on for the majority of the match.
He had a spectacular last quarter last week, Lovett. He made the big run on Anzac Day to give Essendon some hope. So Collingwood 40 points to the better. Didak, another remarkable night for him in terms of numbers. Well done, Lonergan, fetched it cleverly. Lucas, Wellingham, picked it up quickly. Didn't really look, and Fletcher's got hold of it. Pressure, but Pear's okay to Reimers. And Reimers, not a good handball. Skipworth did very well, actually. Hocking getting hold of it, coming from Pear's, good kick. They've battled hard, haven't they, Essendon? You've got to give them some credit here.
Well, this is the part of the game. They really haven't been able to get much of the ball sort of deeper in. That one where Lovett broke the 50-metre line. We haven't seen too much of Essendon's ability to run through and have shots from running midfield plays.
Well, it'd be a good chance from here, Stanton. Got the carry. Not quite. Lovett Murray was the big flyer. And nearly touching the line. A 40-point margin. And for Mickey Moldhouse, he goes past Tom Hafey tonight in number of wins. He's now coached Collingwood for the same number of games as Lee Matthews. And for only the second time under Mickey, Collingwood are going to win 6 in a row.
What you going to say past Tom Cruise as the ball comes back towards the middle. Good strong mark in front, taken by, you guessed it, the veteran. Still going. Matthew Lloyd, Presti, annoyed with himself. So the Rain Man is in the house, and the rain stopped earlier tonight. And right now, the Magpie fans have dried and gone to heaven. They're headed for 6 straight. Lloyd at his second. And a tough night. It's been a good battle. But not the first time. It's a straight kick.
Yes, he's done a good job, as he always does, pressing Jacoma on Lloyd. He's had plenty of help, I think, from his Collingwood defenders, particularly Heath-Shaw and Nick Maxwell, who've tried to sort of get off and make sure there's not too many easy one-on-one contests, but still keeping Lloyd to 3 shots at goal. You'd have to be very happy with that from Collingwood's point of view.
So we're back to that half-time margin. They've held their ground. So Mickey, you're going past Tom Hafey. So only Alan Jeans, Kevin Sheedy and Jock McHale have won more games as a coach. Swan, Reimers, Lovett. Again, a terrific tackle from Wellingham. And then Didak, insatiable appetite at the moment. O'Brien was involved. Beams has been good. Swan, Didak's running hard inside of him. He might be rewarded now. He's done the team thing and finds Davis. He worked his butt off there, did Didak.
Well, it's like the pennies dropped for him. This is his fourth week. Well, he'll have 30 plus touches. We know that he's had the skill. We know that he's had the speed and the smarts. But now he's adding that work rate over 4 quarters to his game, and that's a dangerous sign for the rest of the competition.
So can Davis add a second goal tonight? Coming back and just hooking. So Collingwood do make it 6 straight. So they maintain that grip on the top 4, don't they, Collingwood? That's a big win against a spirited opposition. Essendon certainly didn't go away. And let's go down and join Tim, who's with Josh Fraser.
Well, Josh, an outstanding performance from Collingwood, particularly after quarter time.
Yeah, we started off probably a bit slow, but Essendon are a quality side, so there's always going to be a 4-quarter effort, and the boys fought it really well. It was a great win.
Did you feel like you owed them one after the Anzac Day fade out?
Not really, mate. No, I mean you can't make up for something that happened in round 5 or 6, whatever it was. But we know we've got to keep winning games of footy to continue to set ourselves up for the rest of the year. And tonight was as good a challenge as we're going to get. So as I said, the boys played really well.
On setting yourselves up for the rest of the year, you've won 6 in a row now. Everybody's still talking about Geelong and St Kilda being the premiership favourites. Do you feel like you're making some ground on them?
They keep talking about Geelong and St Kilda. It doesn't worry us. We'll just we're going about our business. We're working hard and we're getting the results at the moment. So we'll just keep chipping away.
You feel as a team though you're improving the longer the season goes?
Yeah, quietly, mate. We're getting there.
Good on you, Josh. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Tim. So the final scores here. Collingwood, really the second quarter doing the damage when you look back now. 15 goals, 12 to Essendon, 9 goals, 13. So back to you, Tim, with Harry O'Brien.
Well, Bruce, the first question Harry asked me was how the story came out during the week. We played it at half-time. It was outstanding, Harry.
Oh, thanks, mate. You did a good job.
Harry, we spoke during the week, and you said to me that you prefer not to play on the small blokes. You picked up Alan Davey tonight. How'd you find him?
Oh, he's just too quick, really. Yeah. When he's at full pace, you can't really do too much. So got to try and keep goal side of him.
Your back line was outstanding tonight.
Yeah. Nick Maxwell really leads us well, and you got Presty, and yeah, it's really good.
And your own performance tonight, how do you reckon you went? I know you're a pretty tough judge.
Yeah, I contributed, which was the good thing. I think we had contributors all across the board, so it was good. Yeah,
you certainly did. It was a great performance from Collingwood tonight.
Thanks a lot, Tim.
Good on you, Harry.
Yeah, good on you, Tim. Good stuff. Last time Collingwood finished top 4 was 2003. They're in a good spot. We know what happened in 03 when they finished top 4. They've been in finals the last 3 years, but not top 4. But they've given themselves a chance here, that's for sure.
Yeah, if you're going to be serious about being a premier, you need to be top 4. You need to give yourself a double chance going to September. It's been something that good Collingwood sides of recent times haven't necessarily been able to do, but this Collingwood side looks like they're winning the games that they need to win to put themselves in that position. And when September comes around, it's a whole new season where that double chance becomes invaluable.
So final scores here on the Friday night game at the G. Collingwood 102 to Essendon 67.
So the Magpies are on a roll. They improved their record to 9-5. They win on Friday Night Football by 35 points. Travis Cloak back amongst the goals with 4. Alan Didak continuing his great form with 35 possessions. Scotty Lucas got 3 tonight. So 15-12, 102 to 9-13, 67.
Power Play is presented by Garnier Fructus-style Power Play Paste.
And Josh Fraser is the man tonight. His career high 29 possessions, tonight 23, but what about 35 hit-outs? Quite remarkable.
And they were good ones. There's hit-outs to just a hand of the ball, but I thought he was dominant in the ruck work tonight. And I guess if Paddy Ryder had a good game on him on Anzac Day, certainly today, Josh Fraser was certainly exceptional. It absolutely gave some of his ground-level players the armchair ride.
Obviously, his pride was pricked, I would imagine, by what happened on Anzac Day, and he's responded tonight. Another man who played so well for Collingwood, Dane Swan. He normally does. He's talking with Tim Watson.
Well, Dane, congratulations on your performance again tonight. It was a really solid game from you, but the team was very good after quarter time.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. We knew Essendon full of run, and we knew we had to restrict that, and they were pretty good up to quarter time, and we knew if we lifted our intensity and our attack on the ball, that we'd go a long way to winning. And thankfully, we really did that and had a good win.
They started better than you. Mick came out at quarter time. He was pretty animated. What do you have to say?
Yeah, mate, he wasn't real happy. He just the way they were moving the ball was probably a bit too free, and we were probably getting back a bit too early and letting them use the corridor a bit too much. So we tried to clean that down in the last 3 quarters. Thankfully it worked.
And your midfielders, they worked hard, really back into help out the back line tonight too.
Absolutely. We try to pride ourselves on a hard-working midfield. We've got a lot of hard workers in there, and we've got probably Leon and Dale and Alan who had the flair in the class. So. We've pride ourselves on working hard, and I think we did that again tonight.
Well, Lordy collected you late in the game. How are you feeling?
Yeah, it really hurt at the time, but after a couple of minutes it went away, which is good.
And a big challenge again next Friday night, the Bulldogs?
Yeah, absolutely. They keep coming, mate. We don't have too many easy games for the next month, so we have to freshen up and prepare ourselves for the Bulldogs next Friday night.
And what about, Alan Didak? I don't think we've seen him play any better football than he's playing at the moment. Is that how you view it too?
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's probably giving a bit more freedom up the ground instead of just being penned in a forward pocket half forward, and he comes on the midfield and really adds another dimension to us. And if he hadn't missed those games, he'd be the all-Australian half forward at the moment.
Dane, well done again tonight.
Thanks very much, Tim.
It really hurt at the time. It'll hurt about 3 o'clock tomorrow morning as well when he's lying in bed, I reckon. That was a pretty strong knee from the man coming up behind Matthew Lloyd. Tell us about Brad Dick. 17 possessions tonight. An unlikely type, but gee, fits in well, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does very well. He's played 8 games this year and obviously a part of the last 6 wins. He's 11-3 for his career in 14 games. What he does is he roams that forward half of the field. We know he's a dangerous front and centre crummer, but he uses the ball very well. He actually holds his body over the ball very well. I think what he's allowed Collingwood the luxury of is to play Alan Didak further up the field, and we see that really that's a win-win because he's such a smart and clever player, Brad Dick, very dangerous in that forward half, and we've seen what Didak's doing in the midfield at the moment.
Leon Davis made a slow start, but gee, touches of brilliance. Let's go to the Orion freeze cam now and break it down for us, Bucks.
Yeah, well, this freak, we saw on Anzac Day that Collingwood lamented the space that they gave up at the back of some boundary throws towards the end of the game. The circled player there is Leon Davis. It's 70 metres out from Collingwood's goal. Not an Essendon player to be seen. It was a great tap out once again from Josh Fraser. A feedback handball, then a quick kick in, and that little dinky kick over the top by Lee Brown was a fantastic disposal and set up the goal for John Anthony. Well, he hit the post, didn't he?
He did, but even so, it wasn't a miss by very much. The major stat tonight, Collingwood by 35 points, but let's look at some of the other numbers.
Well, it was interesting. You look through those. I guess total, it was basically Collingwood kicked the ball a bit more than Essendon did in your kick handball ratio. Hit-outs were dominant. That was a dominant part of the game for Collingwood, and hit-outs to advantage were key there. The clearances therefore were Collingwood's way, and I think that was the part of the game they did the best, and certainly that ability to find the spare play, that clear play inside 50, that awareness to do that, they did that exceptionally well.
Josh Fraser has played some terrific games for Collingwood. Have you seen him dominate a game quite to that extent, Nathan?
Oh, look, yeah, I have seen him play games such as this. probably not so dominant in the hit-out stakes. I mean, he definitely was very keen to body up his opponents. I mean, Paddy Ryder and Hooper, I think, was the other player that played a little bit through the ruck, but he was able to, not just to tap it down to his midfielders, but able to take the ball out of the ruck on a number of occasions. He really came with a steely resolve.
OK, for Toyota, let's check those Dream Team points.
And,
what a
big numbers, isn't it? Big numbers, 133 for a ruckman.
Yeah, and obviously the hit-outs racked those up, and a couple of goals helps, but high numbers for Collingwood. They definitely did dominate possession after quarter time and were able to I suppose, expose that in the dream teams. That's big numbers.
Well, it's fair to say that Alan Didak is in career best form. That's 4 now, 4 30-plus possession games.
Well, he's obviously now playing up in the midfield this last year or two from being a permanent forward who did some really good things in bursts. He's now just getting so much of the footy, and he's such a good user of the footy with ball in hands, makes really good decisions. He runs hard, comes off and has a spell on the interchange, goes back, runs hard again. So this multiple rotation of interchange that Collingwood have developed over the last few years suits him down to the ground to be a burst now, high possession gathering midfielder.
So Collingwood with a record of 9-5, they win on Friday Night Football by 35 points, and that is just the entree. Big footy coming up right here on 7 on Sunday.
Sunday on 7 begins with game day at 10 with Lee Matthews, Terry Wallace, Dean Bailey and Adam Cooney. To warm up for the footy, we flash back to an epic from 1991. And then it's on to the main event as the unbeaten Cats and Saints fight for footy supremacy.
How good is this?
At 1 o'clock in Sydney and Brisbane, the Swans and the Roos meet at the SCG. And in Perth, it's the Dockers and the Blues at 3:45. Sunday on 7, you'll be in footy heaven.
That is classical.
Set, great tackle, Monfries. Davey has to fish for it, gets it now, check sides it, and kicks off a miracle goal. Brilliant. Claude Thomas coming. Well, that's interesting. Goal. Big second quarter for Collingwood, and they had the match under control, you felt, at half-time, and won it by 35 points in the end. Cloak with 4, best effort for him so far this season in terms of goals. Look at Didak and Swan again tonight. Beams and 5 between Lucas and Lloyd. Mark Robinson joins us from the Herald Sun. Good to have you again, Robbo.
Hey, Bruce. Hello.
What's your take on tonight's match?
Well, a bit of Hollywood football up against trench warfare, and the trench warfare won in a finals kind of game. They really closed Essendon's run down. They won. They were in control around the stoppages, and Essendon couldn't get it out, and they all tackled, and starting their forwards, their defender. It was a really complete 4-quarter effort and across the board.
Big numbers again for Swan and Didak.
Yeah, Lee, I want to ask you about this. I mean, for 4 weeks we've been watching Swan and Didak rack up huge numbers. We're talking high 30s, low 40s. Do teams actually put in a lot of homework now? I would have thought that if they're going in against Essendon tonight, let's do something about Didak. He had 13 in the first quarter, Swan 12, halfway through the second quarter. Didak's had 20 and the team's up by 5 goals. Yeah,
well, I mean, it's hard enough to actually have a one-on-one tag on one player these days with this massive rotation of interchange. You can't do it for 2. And one of the reasons that I think the Collingwood have beaten the Swans mostly over the last 2 or 3 years is the Swans like to assign specific opponents, for the opposition, but you can't do it against Collingwood because you're chasing your tail on and off the interchange bench all the time. So it's much harder said than done to keep a direct opponent on either Didak or Swan, certainly not both of them.
Geez, I tell you what, I reckon if you're going to play Collingwood in a big final, you might have to sacrifice one of your own for Didak. He's just in sensational form.
Now, Lee was speaking of the Swans.
Yes, there's a big, bad, I won't say ugly, there's a big bad bruising Swan up there at the moment. He's not playing, Lee. You had a young fella at Brisbane, Jonathan Brown. When he was younger, he was a bit volatile and he'd get himself in situations. This is complete opposite in ages. But what would you do with Barry Hall?
Well, it's a waste of talent in the fact that he sort of got himself reported again and missing for a couple of weeks, and it's frustrating. And Jonathan Brown was young when this was happening. I mean, Barry obviously is clearly in his early 30s. Aggression and getting older and getting frustrated all at the same time is not a good mix, as I found out myself.
You do know that.
So from Barry's point of view, but he's going to serve his couple of weeks out. He's on their list. He's still, their main power forward. So I couldn't see any reason why he's not playing for the Swans when he resumes from his suspension. What happens next year? Well, that's a completely different question.
Yeah, I'd sack him now. I would. I'd say, Barry, thanks a lot. You've been a champion, but we can't trust you anymore.
Okay, Robbo, we're going to look ahead to Sunday's match. Ross Lyon had a press conference today. It's been a big build-up, and why not? Two teams unbeaten after 13 rounds.
The real test is going to come, 3-10 on Sunday and when the ball's bounced. So, yeah, it's exciting. We're up to being. It's going to really challenge us and test us, and we're going to find out a fair bit about ourselves. Clearly, they've been able to set a standard of excellence, and our aim is to be excellent. A great team ourselves, and obviously we've got Lee Tudor here that's given us a good insight to their mindset, and obviously they want to stamp their challenges, and it's going to be very physical and insight into how they like to move the ball and how they like to structure up and what they don't like. So we'll try and absorb some of that and implement some of it, but at the end of the day it's about our style and getting first hands on the footy.
Who's got the best form going in, do you reckon, in the last few weeks?
I believe St Kilda. I believe that they've got their defensive actions, or whatever they call them now in football, but they're averaging 58.8 after 13 rounds of football against. I mean, that's phenomenal defence, but they're going up against the best attack. It's all mindset, isn't it, Lee, at this stage, at that level?
Oh, I don't know about mindset. I mean, Geelong have had a good 50 or 60 games, and St Kilda have had a fantastic last 13. And I think, if you purely took the last 13, I think quite probably, well, St Kilda's percentage is so good, they've had a better first 13. But I think Geelong have got an upper level that I'm not convinced anyone else has got, and that's what Sunday afternoon gives us a chance to look at.
Does a win or loss for either team, Lee, does it have serious implications?
Nil.
No.
I don't think it makes a whole lot of difference to what happens in the latter part of the year, because they've almost both entrenched in the top two positions. It's an interesting curiosity game. If one side, I guess, gets hold of the other team and beats them by 10 goals, maybe that creates something for the future. But mostly, I think it's just the curiosity, the two unbeaten teams, who's going to come out in top in this game.
Lee, you're joining us on game day on Sunday. A star-studded lineup here with Lee and Terry and Dean.
You work me out on the weekend, Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon.
Well, you put your hand up and I don't blame you. Adam Cooney, the Brownlow medalist, joins us as well. Now, the poll, well, it's the obvious one. Who do you think will win Sunday's clash between the Cats and the Saints? Robbo, are you going for St Kilda?
Yeah, I am. I think St Kilda are going to win.
Lee?
I'm going for Geelong. Until I'm prove otherwise, they're the benchmark.
Well, you haven't agreed with Robbo all night, so why start now?
Why would you?
You're upset. Are you upset with me, are you, Lee? Last time we're on TV, I wrote that you were pretty keen on coaching again, and then you squashed it the next day.
Yes.
From 99 to 98%.
Now, the Footy Fan Survey, Robbo,
Yes,
the 7 News Herald Sun Footy Fan Survey. So get involved and put your votes in.
Bit of fun.
Let us know what's going on.
One of the questions, Lee, is who's going to coach Richmond, yourself or Nathan Buckley? What would you tick?
Well, certainly wouldn't be ticking me.
Nathan, do you think Nathan should coach Richmond?
He's caused havoc tonight, hasn't he?
Oh, it's the late Friday
Absolutely.
night.
Robbo, take an early minute as we have a look at some footy flashbacks.
Brownless charging out and takes a beauty. Again, Brownless the target. Again, he takes the mark.
There'll be a lot of young people out there today who wouldn't know that Billy could actually get off the ground.
Even old people too, yeah.
And Big Tony's got it. Oh, look at the speed for look at that for a mark.
It's the best play I've ever seen by a long way.
Look at a great mark. He's too good. Billy Brownless has marked. This has been magnificent footy by the full forwards.
Left, right and centre, only one winner. And the Cats are purring. Is this the greatest St Kilda team ever?
Couldn't ask for more than this, could you?
Do you love me?
And tonight, Collingwood 102-67 with Cloak with 4, Lucas and Lloyd with 5 between them, and Didak again starring. Bucks has rejoined us, and how about your top 4? I'm guessing they're all from the black and whites. They were good tonight.
They are, and I thought at quarter time Essendon obviously had the sway of possession, but Collingwood were very good after that. Alan Didak, fantastic, 36 touches and roamed the field far and wide. Josh Fraser, brilliant in the ruck, really was a standout performance. Nick Maxwell in defence, marshalled the defence. I thought Harry O'Brien could have been in there as well, and Dane Swan. I thought his Not just unrewarded running, but just his work rate is massive. I think Lee made the comment that he was down deep in defence. Well, he gets deep forward as well, and he does cover a lot of ground.
Well, Didak, best on tonight, Lee. You coached Dacos for a lot of his career. There's been a lot of comparisons about that. You wrote it on the AFL website. Do they remind you of one another?
Well, they play for the same team and they got that same body shape, the long body, the relatively short leg, which gives them fantastic balance. And I mean, Dakes, I guess, more than any player's ever played, has kicked more freaky goals. I mean, Didak's does it fairly often. This is probably the best goal I've ever seen kick. Pretty happy to see him kick it, I must say, at the time. But Dakes was a magician up forward. I think that this rotation of interchange that we talk about, that Didak, I think, would run a harder 70 or 80 metre surge because he can come on and off all the time. But it's a great comparison because they're both in the black and white, and they've given the black of the Collingwood fans some fantastic viewing over their careers.
And the ladder tonight, well, it's a good spot for Collingwood. Talked about it at the end of the game, Bucks, that they haven't been top four since 2003, but Collingwood sitting solidly there now, and the percentage is useful too.
Yeah, and whilst you keep winning, you keep putting the pressure on the other teams that are trying to push their way in there. I think possession's 9/10 of the law. Whilst the Bulldogs and Collingwood are sitting in third and fourth spot, they're more likely to finish there.
It's going to take a bit of work for any of those teams outside the 8, I think, to find their way in. And I guess tomorrow night's game, when Hawthorn take on the Bulldogs, if they can't get over the Bulldogs, all of a sudden they're 6-8. There's a long way back from there.
Carlton hung on to that 8th spot, didn't they, last week? And Essendon at the moment still in 7th position with those 7 wins. Sportsbet.com.au to show us through the remaining matches. Look, it's a fascinating round. Every game you feel like there's something on it. Melbourne and West Coast. West Coast haven't won for 17 matches away from home.
They've been, well, even been inconsistent in Subiaco. They've had 3 or 4 really good games at Subiaco. So you're never quite sure what you're going to get out of the West Coast team, and Melbourne have obviously really been struggling.
Port and Brisbane?
Yeah, no, look, you've got to give Brisbane a real chance, even though it's at Amy. But look, I think Port are due. I really do think that'll be a closer contest than many think.
Saints are the only team to beat Port in Adelaide this year. Richmond, Adelaide, or the Gold Coast. Adelaide will be heavy favourites there. What about the Bulldogs and Hawthorn?
Well, I would say the Bulldogs are just going better. Hawthorn, we still think of them as what they were last September, but they're just not producing last September's level. And the Bulldogs are in good form. They only just got home last week. They've had a couple of sort of flat games where they've only won by a goal or two when they were expected to win easily. But I think the Bulldogs.
Swans have lost 1 game at home all year. That was to Collingwood.
Yeah, look, I think at the SCG they enjoy that. They can close the game down. North Melbourne looked okay against the Bulldogs last week, but I'd say the Swans will take that game out.
And the Saints and Geelong?
Well, I've always nominated Geelong as my pick.
Yeah, me too. And I think over in Perth, I think Fremantle are every chance. I'd tip them over Carlton Fremantle, they haven't been great. They're out. The Pavlich isn't there, but back at Subiaco, they're a whole different kettle of fish.
Won 11 out of 12, I think, against Carlton in recent times. But, well, great day and a great night for Alan Didak yet again. He continues to excel. Joe Watson, well, close to playing apparently. They missed him, there's no doubt about that. He's been in terrific form. So that's it. It was a blockbuster. 78,000 people here. Collingwood made their move in the second quarter and keep their spot in the top 4. Thanks for that, boys. Hope you enjoyed it. We did.
Ryder and Fraser renew hostilities. Friday night football, and away we go.
Well done, Brown. Goal set. Great tackle, Monfries. Davey has to fish for it. Gets it now. Check sides it and kicks up the miracle goal. Fletcher saw Thomas coming. Well, that's interesting.
Anthony drops back. Dangerous. Very dangerous.
Would have been a lot of tape then, eh? Here's Lucas bringing it back. She's a good kick. Scotty's done it.
Inside the forward 50. Cloak was third man up. Falls in front. Dick. In he goes. Dick. Kicks it with the outside of the boot. It's a nice finish. It wasn't bad.
Oh, here's Fraser. Oh, that's a wonderful effort. He's going to love that. He's stood like a colossus tonight.